So one is the lawsuit for me when the minister broke that out. That was a powerful moment in Black America. And the other one was how the year started out in 2023 with the Tyree Nichols case.
Yes.
When the five black police officers beat up that brother and left him for dead. And that's something we never seen before. Black America didn't know how to process that. But, there's a lot of conversation still surrounding that. And that was those two big things that stood out for me. We talked about that for weeks on the show, brother. And I tell you, that's something just unfathomable to see black men pummel and just beat their brother with no impunity.
Mm-hmm. And another one, though, just about to throw it out on there, is about that hip hop turned 50 years.
Yeah.
Old this year. That was a significant. They're recognizing how important that form of music and entertainment is.
Yeah, the other thing, brothers, about the Tyree Nichols case. Just think about blacks during slavery, that their job was to beat other blacks. I mean, it ain't like we ain't seen this before.
Right.
It's not like we ain't seen this before.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not like we ain't seen stool pigeons before. It ain't like we seen traitors to slave rebellions. Denmark Beasley. So I'm not surprised because they're part of a institutional racism that is about oppressing us.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's right.
unfortunately, we have a dearth of officers with the understanding, with the strength, man, and the courage of people like the late Renault Robinson and Howard Saffold. And give me the sister, brother James.
Pat Hill.
And Pat Hill, man.
Yeah.
Now Negroes talking about my job and my promotion.
Right.
Those cops, those early black cops, man, they suffered. They were threatened from within the department, man. But they stood up. And they stood with a community that was standing up.
Yeah.
Right.
And they weren't afraid to associate with the Honorable Minister Farrakhan. In fact, they were the first FOI and MGT that stood with him until the rest of us got on board.
That's right.
Wow.
That's right. So, but I think it's shameful that it happened like that. That this brother lost his life to people who should have been protecting him.
Yeah.
That's right.
So you got people talking about, some people, well, they're black. No, they ain't. They're blue. They ain't black.
That's right. That's right.
They blue. They was blue when they beat that man for no reason. So don't tell me now, since the white cops got away with it and the black cops didn't, there's something wrong. What are we? We trying to we trying to we trying to rationalize the murder of our people.
Right.
No, man. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad writes about the day of decision. The day of decision when you must make a choice about where you will be.
Exactly.
You got to make a choice, man.
Yeah.
You can't. I mean, it's sickening to me
Right.
that we would do the work of the enemy in 2023, man. And then when we get caught, now we want to cry crocodile tears.
Right.
No, ain't no crocodile tears for you.
That's right.
Because you took that man's life, man, for no reason.
That's right.
None. So I'm back in the studio and I'm informed tonight, brothers, by Allah's grace.
Sound like you. Go ahead.
But the other thing I think, the cop that was convicted of a small crime for the killing of our brother Elijah McClain will be sentenced on Friday.
Okay.
But the thing that I thought about, brothers, was a lack of reporting from mainstream media
Yeah,
on these attacks on us. It ain't like it was a couple years ago.
that's right.
The little brother in Jacksonville, Florida, beat up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Black eyes, lacerated liver, man.
Yeah.
The Mona Hardin, the mother of Ronald Green, fighting for justice in his case.
Yeah.
Inshallah, we got a sister that's going to call in tonight from Florida at about 9:45 our time. She's
Okay.
going to talk about a story how she been trying to deal with for her son for 6 years. He's been incarcerated. So we thank National Prison Reform Minister Abdullah Muhammad for bringing that to our attention so we can serve her.
Good.
You know, and you know, we've been telling these stories, man. And that's why you have to support and you have to do something for yourself from people that care about you.
That's right.
From people that care about you. That your pain matters to them. See?
That's right.
And white folks can give you a wider audience, but you get it for about 2 minutes. Then what?
Right.
Then what? So we say, look, come to Straight Words. Come to the Final Call. Come to the Carl Nelson Show. Come to any strong black outlet. Don't let your white lawyer or your black lawyer tell you to roll with CNN. And then when CNN get finished with you, then what?
Right.
Nah, connect
Then
with
they're
your
gonna
people.
Then they're gonna run back to
Yeah.
the black press.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm not saying don't use CNN, right?
Right.
I'm just saying don't sidestep me and us when we're willing to help you
Yes.
for somebody that's going to use you for a minute. Hey, is this a caller we got, Brother Cordell? Is he waiting to talk to us? Huh? Yes, no? Okay, well, go ahead, brothers. Y'all get in. I don't want to dominate.
No.
You know,
Now, you on it, man. No, stay on it. Stay on it. Keep going. Keep going.
Look. You are steadily seeing black folk under assault in this country. You're seeing it from within and from without, right? We remain the number one victims of hate crimes in this country. Remember, we didn't have a couple instances in last year where white folks was hunting black folks. They came into the neighborhoods specifically looking to kill us, right?
That's right.
Unfortunately, we killing each other every day. So we gotta stop that. How do we stop that?
Right.
One, you got to know who you are, and you got to know you got an enemy. Then once you know who you are, and your enemy is not your ignorant little brother or sister. They're ignorant like you. They're a danger to themselves and others, certainly, because they're
Right.
out of their minds. And we are saying that you must protect your life, right? You got to protect your life, regardless to whom or what.
That's right.
But what we're
Yes,
saying is, we are not the natural enemies of one another, right? We got a natural
That's
enemy.
right.
And he is the one who creates the circumstances that make us victimize one another. Unemployment,
That's right.
failing
Right.
schools, lack of services, confining us to an area. So I'm saying, brothers and sisters, look, man, 2024, how about we bet on black in 2024? Because
Right.
it seems to me we got a big presidential election coming up. And it seems to me whenever we got one white man that disappoint us, we automatically look for another. So now you don't like Biden. Now you're saying give me Trump. So you want Lucifer or you want Satan, right?
Right.
Instead of us betting on ourselves and saying we are going to do every single solitary thing in our power, everything, we're going to force unity and love on one another like we try to force ourselves in with people who hate us.
Well,
That's
brother Naba'a, they every year they send us a memo.
Go ahead.
Every year we refuse to read the memo.
What that memo say? What that memo say?
If we would just open up the memo or click on the email and read, it would say, we don't give a damn about y'all unless it serves our interests. As a matter of fact, black people, we have one coin. And when you flip it on one side, it says Republican. And you flip it again on the other side, it says Democrat.
Go ahead now.
But black folks, what you don't understand is both sides of the coin serves us, serves the power base in the country. So it doesn't matter what side of the coin it lands on, it's not going to be in your interest. You may lend yourself to it, your vote to it, your service to it, your contributions to it. But when it's all said and done, it will not serve the interest of uplifting you and your people. It will serve the interest of further lifting the society, the system that is oppressing you right now, but it will give you the image or the feeling that you have been a part of something. And in 2024, if you look at how the winds are blowing, we should be getting ready for a very serious storm on our community, because either way it goes, it's not going to be pretty. If in terms of the election, in terms of policy that will come out of a Trump administration, it is not going to be pretty for us as a people. So, a few people may think it will serve them because they see a few items on their agenda that get serviced, or you may cast a vote in opposition to the Democratic Party, or if you vote for Biden and the Democrats. Unfortunately, I'm sad to say, or I gotta say, it has never served our interests, even when the Democrats had both houses of the Congress and the presidency. So we have to ask the question, if that has happened, why haven't we gotten at least one thing that we had on our agenda that was specific to our agenda? Most stuff on our agenda is something that will benefit everybody. The few things that are on our agenda that specifically benefit black folk, they always find a way to get around it. So 2024, in my opinion, it's going to be a very pivotal year for black folks and for the entire planet because of this thing that's going on in the Middle East. If it explodes, we got a lot. And I might add, in terms of what we see going on abroad and the weather, that would be another big issue for our conversation in terms of the news. But we're starting to see earthquakes over in the far, over, I think it was in Japan. Yeah. But there was some rattling along the coast. Yeah. Several earthquakes along the coast, the East Coast. So when you start seeing signs like that, we better brace ourselves, because we were kind of late getting into the game getting into what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was presenting to us, is to get some land and do something for ourselves, to ask for separation, which for some reason we don't even want to have a conversation about.
Yeah, we're gonna come back to that in a minute. Look, let's get Cordell in, and then we're coming back to you, BJ. Then Cliff, we coming to you. Brother Cordell.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I greatly appreciate this honor and opportunity by which to speak to you brothers, man, on a high power level, because y'all definitely touching on some real bases and fine on all cylinders. We definitely got to get linked in and understand what's going on and what's happening to us abroad as well as here.
Go ahead, man.
Because we got to be in tune with how it's going on and how it done been going on. We still fighting civil rights issues that have been going on since before the civil rights movement. And why are we still going back and fighting over stuff that has already supposed to have been fought and fought? But yet still we got here in Chicago, we got the wrongful conviction center, the mecca of this here demonstration. You did?
Wow.
From nation to nation, coast to coast, Chicago leads the wrongful conviction situation. We got all these torturous police who have moved with diplomatic immunity and impunity under the cloak of torture of civil servants as wolves in sheep's clothing. And we have been the burden, or we have been, I'm talking about, man, the ones whose blood have ran in the streets, the ones whose blood hanged over the door as these devil hounds ran up and down our communities and neighborhoods, hoods and ghettos across America. You did what I'm saying? They laid up here and done what they done to us under the disguise of cops, under the torturous, under the torturous title of the Midnight Crew and what have you, from approximately 1977 up until the recent forced retirement of this last individual, this last caper, this last perpetrator.
This last criminal.
Exactly. This last criminal.
To be caught, right?
That ain't the last one in the bunch, though.
That's right. It ain't the last one in the bunch now.
You know what I'm talking about? He just the last one on the tail end of the Midnight Crew.
Yeah.
This is going to affect hundreds, if not thousands, of cases that already have been infected, and affected as well as effected on every level of legislation, legislative, judicial, and executive.
Go ahead,
if we get right to it. You know what I'm saying?
Go ahead.
So
Go ahead,
as a survivor, I'm a survivor of 28 and a half years of torture perpetrated against me and my family. The victim impactation on both sides has been ruled amok, ran amok. It's been ruled amok in courts of law, their courts of law under collateral estoppel and pattern and practice. Collateral estoppel and pattern and practice. They have been found to be unreliable and, most importantly, exactly who we said they were from the beginning. Some torturous, lying, conniving, thieving, just want to wipe us out of existence, but they want us to work for them in every which way, to be the consumers and the burden bearers of what they say.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man,
Go ahead,
brother, you done spoke a word, man.
Say what you really mean, bro.
You done spoke a word. Let's
I'm
go
talking
to...
about my spirit is I get this from on high like a saving grace.
Go ahead.
Because I need to talk to my people about what's happening to us. We, us, and ours on both sides of the coin that you so eloquently alluded to. But we got a serious and a real infection going on both sides of them coins that's beyond Republican and Democrat, because we got the mothers and the sisters and the daughters and the, oh my goodness, the burden bearers who truly carry the weight of the atrocities perpetrated against us, the men, the princes, the kings of the community.
That's right.
Brother Cordell, thank you so much.
Yes,
We're about
sir.
to go to Cliff, but thank you, man. Call back in now, Brother Cordell. Don't leave us out here. You call back next week. Cliff, is that you, my brother?
That's how I'm looking, brothers. You brothers are speaking some fire. I like that. You about to make a Christian brother shout up in here.
Hey, man.
I like that.
Hey, don't call it a comeback. Don't call it a comeback.
Brother Naimah, it's good to hear your voice. Well, listen, I get right to it, and I want you brothers to help me and respond to this. Now, you talked about the election, and this year, and I totally agree, this is going to be the most critical year of this decade because we as black folks got to choose which deranged old white man going to do best for us. And that's ridiculous. So in terms of voting, and I said this before last year, now I'm going to bring this scenario up, and you give me your input and your thoughts. Now, if all the members of the Nation of Islam were to go and register to vote, and then write in the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, what type of impact would that send to our enemies?
Hey, man, I don't know, but I tell you this. Damn it, I'm not opposed to it.
Because I'm saying that,
I'm not opposed to it, Cliff.
Right, but I'm saying though, right? You don't vote. Am I right or wrong?
Well,
let's get right to it.
Well, you know, the ministers taught us to engage in enlightened self-interest when we engage in politics.
Exactly.
And to engage in politics from the point of where you know what you're doing, you know what you're getting, and you know what you want. But I think anything that says to the enemy, we are moving in an independent way, is good. Now, I'll say this. We, in my view, like I said, we need to bet on black in 2024. We need to bet on black, right?
That's right.
Now, what do I mean by that?
Right, I need to know.
We don't have to vote for Biden nor Trump.
That's right.
We ain't got to do nothing. Because Biden can't win without us. Wait a minute, I don't think you heard what I said.
No.
Biden cannot win without black folk. So the question becomes, what are we going to do with the power that's in our hands based on an agenda, not the latest boogeyman. The boogeyman was Nixon at one point. The boogeyman was Ronald Reagan at one point. The boogeyman was George Herbert Walker Bush at one point. Then the boogeyman was Baby Bush at one point.
Yeah.
I think that in this 2024 election, you are not necessarily, I think in this 2024 election, you are not necessarily going to be able to make fear of a white sheet politics work with black people. Black people are fed up, man. So I heard something earlier, Mr. Biden losing black support. Good. What has he done to earn it? We didn't get the George Floyd policing bill when the Democrats had the White House, the House and the Senate. We didn't get the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. So when we gonna make Uncle Joe earn it? Remember what he said when he got in office. He said black folks saved him, and he said black folks saved democracy.
Right, and I got your back.
What? And I got you. When are we gonna get something, brothers and sisters?
That's right.
When?
And family and brothers, I would even say this in closing, even a third party, because I remember a few years ago, there was a campaign, not a campaign, but there was a march, Justice for Us. Wasn't that from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan? Remember that?
Well, yeah, justice or else.
Or else, right, correct. I'm sorry, thank you.
But remember, brothers and sisters, and I'm just going to say now.
And I'll hang up. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, thank you. Sister Katrina, don't go nowhere. We coming to you in a minute. Lawrence, we coming to you in a minute. I'm going to try to make this quick. Remember, after the Million Man March, there was a convention of the oppressed called by Minister Farrakhan, talking about massing our forces, and there was an agenda. Right? So taking the personality out, putting the issues in. And the minister didn't talk about a third political party at that time. He talked about a third political force. A third political force with the ability to determine the outcome of elections. And I think that is something that's worth looking at again this year because it's so tight. But look, we're going to have some strength. But I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, I just heard something today about, believe it or not, brothers, talking about that black folk are really not disenchanted with Uncle Joe. It's disinformation from the Russians or somebody. Let's go to Sister Katrina, who's been holding so wonderfully.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Welcome
to the show. How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm doing well. I'm doing even better after I started listening to the show. Wow, amazing content and discussion.
Well, we're glad we got you.
Welcome aboard.
Now, this is Sister Katrina Muhammad, who is the author. You tell us what you're the author of, sister. The full title of your book.
My little book, Relationship Talks.
Okay, all right.
I love my little book.
And she's also... Sorry. She's also one of the advertisers. But Sister Katrina, let me ask you a question, because we're talking about 2023, going into 2024. And we know black male-female relationships are always a hot topic. What do you think about the conversation about that subject in 2023? You got any thoughts about what it should have been, what it was, anything at all?
Wow. That question, first of all, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum to you, your entire listening audience. I'm so glad that you're doing a recap to kind of look at, okay, well, what happened in 2023 with various different subjects. And I'm glad you're including relationships because that's a personal favorite of mine, because I really do believe that if we had stronger and better family lives, a lot of the other things that we experience and go through, we can have protection from that. We can have some insulation from that. We can have some reprieve. We can have some comfort just with each other and being a family. And because we don't have those strong families like some other ethnicities do, then we miss out. We miss out on opportunities to pool our resources. We miss out on opportunities to improve or shrink, rather, the wealth gap and pass on wealth to our children. We miss out on all those opportunities when we have all of these scattered families and broken families. And that is what you saw, what we saw in the data and the statistics again in 2023. It has not changed. In fact, the poverty rate, because I really think a lot of this is related to poverty, but the minister said that it is our disconnection from God that is at the root of failing relationships between men and women. That's very, very important that people understand that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that. So that's at the root. But next to that, or down the line from that, is this median household income gap, the poverty rate increasing, child poverty decreased in 2021 or 2022 because of the stimulus checks that went out, right, with COVID, and that dramatically decreased child poverty. But now it's going back up. It's on the rise again.
Wow.
And so when you look at this and you look at the statistics, out of all the ethnic groups, Asians are at 61% of them are married. Whites, 55% of them are married. Hispanics, 48%. And who's at the bottom? Blacks are at the bottom. We're at the bottom. Only 31% of us are married. Now, what's interesting to me, when you go deeper into that number, 34% of black men were married compared to 28% of black women. So What's going on? The black men, 34%, black women, 28%. So what does that reveal? That reveals and denotes intermarriages going on.
Right.
In terms of black men getting married, yes, but not to black women. And then when you look at women altogether across ethnicities, black women are at the lowest number of marriages and the highest number of divorces. In fact, they're in a special category. Wow. As a black woman, I was like, what? Black women was the only group where the percent of divorces were higher than the percent of marriages.
Wow.
So the divorces were outpacing the percentage of marriages. Wow. Now, what does that mean for our families? Obviously, this trickles down and becomes a problem for the children.
Absolutely.
It becomes a problem for the men. Absolutely. Who are trying to keep up with all of these, child support payments and what have you, because people are going through these racist courts and they're determining whatever they're determining. And then the men are like, wait a minute, I can't pay that and eat and live and put gas in my car. Like, what is this? This is completely unfair.
Yeah.
But it's designed that way to hurt the man, to hurt the woman, to hurt the black family. It's not helping us.
Right.
It's hurtful. And so all of that means we need some help. We need some help. We need to listen to the minister. We need to watch his lectures. We need to get in the mosque. We need to sit down with a student minister. We need to get some therapy. Right? We are. It's a 5-alarm fire. It's a 5-alarm fire. This is a problem, and it's kind of gone under the radar, I feel, because people have, I guess, gotten comfortable with this new thing. The new thing being among the millennials, and I've researched them too, the millennials and the Gen Xers, they just don't get married.
Wow. Sister Katrina, thank
you. So they're
you.
living together.
Thank you so much. We got to move on. But look, we're going to have you back on to talk about this subject. And inshallah, you will hear your commercial again tonight a few times.
All praises to Allah.
So stay tuned.
I'd love to come back. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to Lawrence real quick. Brother Anthony, I'm going to have you hold on for a minute. That's Brother Shaheed. Lawrence, you on the air.
Hey, what's up, brother?
Hey, brother, what's up with you?
All right, here's what I want to put out to you, what I can understand now. Here, everybody jumping on Biden, this and that. But wait a minute. But Biden didn't tell the police to shoot you, man. Here's a man, Trump, got on there when he's running. He told the police, when you stop him, hurt him.
Yeah.
Why would you want to, listen. Why would you want to vote for a man like that again? You got all black people on this bandwagon, all on the internet, talking about we want Trump, we going Trump. I mean, what is wrong with this black race, man? Here's a man tell you going to hang you. Here's a man tell you going to hang you, and you still you're going to vote for him. I mean, are we that stupid, man? Listen, are we that stupid? I can't figure this out, man.
Hey, Brother Lawrence.
Yeah.
When you love the devil because he gives you nothing,
wow.
That's all he got to give you is nothing. That's why I started out by saying, in 2024, baby, bet on black. Stop running from one white man to another, because let me say about Mr. Biden now. Now remember, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Lawrence. Go ahead.
Can I finish? The man, he ain't never said nothing about hurting you, man. I say what you're saying, the man. All of this is politics, man, to try to make the Democrat Party look bad, bringing all these immigrants over here and whatnot. Now everybody going for running for Trump. Come on, Trump, get these people out of here. Trump ain't going to do nothing. Trump supposed to build the wall. Wait a minute. Trump supposed to build the wall. He didn't build no wall, man.
You're right.
They just trying to get Trump in his office because the man is a racist Nazi. His daddy was a Nazi. Ku Klux Klan. All of these white people want Trump, man, because Trump was talking that Hitler talk, man. Hey. These people want this. They want white supremacy, man.
Hey,
if Trump get back in there, man, we doomed. Just that simple, man.
Hey, Lawrence, I'm gonna have to let you go, but look, you got to call us back again, man, because we got to continue this conversation. I'm saying bet on black and let the white guys go. Thank you, Lawrence. Appreciate you.
Hey, Brother Naba'a.
Yeah.
But I want to say, are black people, are they surprised or are they choosing to ignore? Because I think the elephant in the room, we have seen how wicked Joe Biden actually is. Because he don't have no regard for human life, sending those weapons over there to kill all the Palestinians. And you got, 9,000 children killed?
Yeah. Exactly.
And what is I looked up the definition of wicked. What is wicked? A wicked is a person likely to cause harm, distress, or trouble, going beyond reasonable limits.
Woo. Yeah.
Now that's the question. Everybody talking about Trump, but we're looking at how wicked this man's behavior is, brother. And then you're gonna take your little black self down to the polls with your hand shaking. When you about to pull the lever?
Hey, Brother BJ.
Yes, sir.
Bet on black in 2024. We're going to bring in a special guest. We're going to bring in a special guest. And I really thank her because I got a call from, let's bring Marsha in, Miss Marsha, Sister Marsha, who's calling out of Florida, right? Brother, National Prison Reform Minister Abdullah Muhammad hit me earlier today about the case of this sister in Florida and her son who was incarcerated. I'm saying, brothers and sisters, got jiggity jammity. If we don't feel the pain of one another, if we are not determined to stand together and support one another, it's not good. Because our unity, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, our unity, I believe he said, it's more powerful than a nuclear weapon.
Yes.
So,
that's right.
Sister Marsha, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you, sister, for making yourself available. This is Brother Naba'a. We also have on the line my co-host, B.J. Murphy, who is a Black Radio Hall of Fame member.
Yes,
and
sir.
we have James G. Muhammad, who was a former Final Call editor-in-chief, contributing editor, and a consummate media professional. Sister Marsha, share the story with our listeners about what you've been going through for the last 6 years. I want you to listen to this, brothers and sisters, please.
Okay, so I am, of course, representing my son, Cameron McIntyre. My son, who was 19 when this started, he is soon to be 26. He was in a car. Long story short, he was in a car with his best friend, and his best friend was selling weed or something to someone, and the gentleman shot his best friend and murdered him.
Oh, wow.
Everyone that was in the car was charged with that murder. My son had gone to college on 3 scholarships and was actually sitting in his college class when they came to arrest him for the murder.
Where are you calling from, Sister Marsha? Where are you calling from?
I'm in Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
And so fast forward, we go through that whole process of him being incarcerated for years and us paying all of these attorneys and all of that. And the attorney told us that he would get a first-time offender program if he pled guilty. And we were against it because we knew he wasn't guilty. And so, for the victim's family, he said, Ma, I just want this to be over. The first-time offenders program would have given him 9 years. In prison, he had already, at that time, it had already been close to 5, and he would be coming home soon. So he took the plea and got in front of the judge, and the judge gave him 20 years. We began to do the appeal process, but during the appeal process, right before my son took the plea, he called me and said that they had given him a shot in his arm. He was not feeling well, and that, he was getting sick. So I began to call the jail, tell them he needs some help, what's going on. You guys gave him a shot. Well, then I got a call from an inmate that my son passed out in the cell. I went down to the jail at that point and was demanding for someone to help find out what's going on. And he told me all they did was gave him ibuprofen. After he was sentenced, they shipped him off to Wakulla prison in Florida, and he rapidly started declining. Every weekend we would go visit him. He started losing weight. He went from 180 pounds to 98 pounds. The guards started to have to push him in a wheelchair. I literally called the prison 236 times to get them to get him some better medical attention, and they refused to. I got a call from one of the lieutenants from the jail, from the prison, and he said to me, if you don't get your son some help, he's going to die. And so the next morning I got up. God told me to post a post on Facebook, and I did. And I put the prison number, and I said, I need everyone to share this post. Can we please start flooding the prison with phone calls? And the prison started getting thousands of phone calls. And so they agreed to rush him to a hospital in Tallahassee, but by then it was too late. He had TB, and it had taken over his body and spread throughout his body. During the time, my son found a lump in his testicle, and he called and told me about the lump. I called the administrator. I'm calling the doctors. They told me that my son had an STD. And I said, what do you mean an STD? So my son called home. He was crying. He said, Mom, I'm not gay. I've never been with a man. They're lying. Well, once he got to the hospital, they tried to tell me that my son had cancer in his testicle, and I said, no, he does not have cancer. And they told me they needed to remove his testicle and castrate him. I told them no. They told me basically he was a property of the state. I really didn't have a say-so. And then they castrated him, only to call me back a week later to let me know that it was never cancer. It was a part of the TB. So they castrated him for nothing. Long story short, once they released him from the hospital with the TB regimen back to the prison on December 16th of last year, the prison never gave him his medicine. So he had to be rushed back to the hospital on December 31st. He was found unresponsive and had to be rushed back to the hospital because he never got his medication, and he was in ICU. I then had his baby brother who was in Jacksonville, Florida at the same time in ICU because he was shot 10 times trying to save some kids leaving football practice. Someone randomly started shooting, and he shielded the kids to, took the bullets for the kids. And so I was literally driving from one ICU to another one 3 hours away, and the doctor in Jacksonville heard about my son's case and requested he be moved to Jacksonville, and they did. He was in the hospital maybe 8 months, and then once they got the TB under control, they released him back to the prison system. And once he got there, again, he felt very ill again. Now he has, they said, so many lesions on his brain that they can't count. He has a mass on his brain, and he's paralyzed. He had a stroke during the process, so he's paralyzed in a wheelchair. And the doctor in the prison basically said, we can't take care of him. Like, we have not enough resources to take care of him. So they put in for medical compassionate release, and the state of Florida rejected it and denied. God. So,
Sister Marsha, I'm sorry.
Marsha.
I don't want to interrupt you, but we got about maybe 3 more minutes.
Yes.
I guess.
But that was it. That was the story.
So at this point, what can we do to help you and to support Cameron?
I'm just trying to get the word out there. I got to get him home so I can get him the proper medical attention.
Let's bring Cameron home.
Yes.
Let's bring Cameron home. Well, Sister Marsha, I really want to thank you, brothers and sisters. Did you hear this, mother? You hear
Yes,
this,
sir.
mother, and what she's done for her son?
What's
and
her
then
Facebook page, Naimah?
Yeah, Sister Marsha, you have a Facebook page?
I do.
Or
It's
how do you respond?
What's your Facebook page?
It's Marsha McIntyre Lowe.
Okay, and how do we help you? How do we get in touch with you?
Yeah, that's my Facebook page. They can message me. I really don't even know what the next steps are other than getting this out there as much as I can.
Spell your first name is Marsha,
MARSHA.
Spell your second name.
MCINTYRE.
And your last name.
LOWE.
And so we will get that out as best we can. And Sister Marsha, brothers and sisters, I just heard about this earlier today, so we were able to connect. Thanks to Brother Zachariah with the prison ministry in Florida, in Miami, the regional city, and thanks to our national prison reform minister. So, Sister Marsha, inshallah, we will bring you back next week.
Okay.
Because, brothers and sisters, I went to college. I've been in the car with people that bought weed.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in the car with people that bought weed. I mean, I wasn't necessarily the weed smoker, but I was there. But I was just trying to get to the party, man. And they had to get their joints. Oh, hey, let's go.
Exactly.
My point is, brothers and sisters, this is what I'm saying about us and us caring for one another. Listen to what this mother said about her son.
Yeah.
Listen to the lies from the lawyer. Look at the heartlessness of the judge. We got a man now that was convicted in connection with the death of Elijah McClain, a white man in Aurora, California, who's going to be sentenced this Friday. He going to do, I'm telling you right now, he going to do less time in that death than her son has done. Brothers and sisters, bet on black in 2024 and let your slave master go. Sister Marsha, thank you. Thank you. So now remember, we got to connect, and Brother BJ, I got to connect with our super producer, Sister Jeanette, to see what we got scheduled for next week. But we got to get Sister Marsha on at least for 30 minutes. You know.
Yes, sir. We can make that happen, bro.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Sister, thank you. And again, like I said to you earlier, we don't want nothing from you. You ain't got to do nothing for us. It is our honor and pleasure and duty to serve you. We are those who follow Farrakhan. And that's why they hate him, brothers and sisters. They hate him because he loves you.
Right.
And he's teaching others to love themselves and love you. Bro, BJ, we got 2 minutes, man. Do your thing and take it to the top. Sister Marsha, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, sister. And once again, brothers and sisters, y'all want to get in contact with our beautiful sister, Marsha McIntyre Lowe on Facebook. That's Marsha McIntyre Lowe on Facebook. All right, we made the case this first hour, brother. We back for the new year, and you can tell we full of fire. Brother Naba''s in the studio, Brother James G. Muhammad. We got our panel coming up next hour, and y'all can support us. You want to keep this fire going? Let's keep the love light burning. Make a cash donation on Cash App, $straight words, $straight words on Cash App. You can hit us up on Zelle. Make your best donation at 312-480-9775. That's 312-480-9775. And also on PayPal, the email is straightwords4@gmail.com. That's straightwords4@gmail.com. Thank y'all, brothers and sisters, for tuning in. This is Straight Words. We'll be on until midnight tonight right here, Central Time, in the city of Chicago, WVON 1690. Taking you to the top of the hour. Next hour, we got our sisters panel, the Black Sisters Roundtable. These are journalists of the highest degree. They're going to talk about 2023 and 2024 coming up on WVON 1690, the talk of Chicago on Straight Words.
The talk of Chicago and the voice of the nation is 1690 WVON, Berwyn, Chicago.
I'm Amber Payton in for Vanessa Tyler.
And I'm Mike Stevens on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
I need the police here right now. No, because he won't get his hands off of me.
An update to a story we've been following. A 27-year-old black woman was shot and killed by police after calling for help.
You couldn't mace her. You couldn't baton her. You couldn't use a stun gun. My daughter only weighed 110 pounds. Why is she dead?
The family of Niani Finlayson, who was shot and killed by a Los Angeles sheriff's deputy while her daughter watched, is suing the department for $30 million. Sheriff's deputies responded to a domestic violence call at the Lancaster apartment of Finlayson. According to the family, her 9-year-old daughter had just given her a knife to defend herself against an estranged boyfriend. Deputies say they shot Finlayson just as she was going to stab the man. Her daughter disputes that description, saying her mother was sitting on the floor and deputies shot her in the back. Body cam footage shows Finlayson's daughter pleading to police that her mother's boyfriend pushed her. Finlayson's family is demanding that the deputy who fired the fatal shot be prosecuted for murder.
Mississippi Democratic Congressman Benny Thompson, who is black, is discussing what could happen if former President Donald Trump becomes president again.
Black people, by and large, believe in the rule of law. And so what they saw, and a lot of us, myself included, was a president of the United States stoking the flames of insurrection on January 6th.
Thompson chaired the committee investigating the 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol and called it a violent attempt by a U.S. president to block the transfer of power. Thompson says he still stands by the committee's decision to refer criminal charges.
Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett is reflecting on her first year in Congress.
Going into 2024, I want everyone to be very serious about who it is that we send to Congress and who it is that is currently sitting in Congress.
Crockett, who was black, referenced the 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol and the expulsion of Rep. George Santos of New York from the House. She says she is hoping for more progress in 2024.
During a time when some states are opting to remove former President Donald Trump from the presidential ballots, a former advisor of President Barack Obama, David Axelrod, says doing so would rip the country apart.
The DOJ investigated that. They didn't find enough evidence. So how can you remove him for a ballot for inciting an insurrection when our own Justice Department didn't find that?
Axelrod says millions of people want to vote for Trump. This comes as both Colorado and Maine made recent decisions to keep Trump off the Republican primary ballot in those states. Trump's lawyers could file challenges against those decisions this week.
And as we make the transition into 2024, new laws are going into effect in several states. New York Governor Kathy Hochul has signed over 700 bills into law. One of them requires residents living in public housing projects, many of them black, to write within 24 hours about whether their water is safe for cooking and drinking. The minimum wage is also rising to $16 an hour in the New York City area. Similarly, in California, the minimum wage is rising to $16 an hour. That's an increase of 50 cents to help offset the rise in inflation. Several other states will also be increasing their minimum wage. I'm Amber Payton, along with Mike Stevens on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Happy New Year from the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Happy New Year from Vaughn TV. In January, we're unveiling brand new content, a brand new look, and we're celebrating Dr. King. Join us MLK Weekend as we unveil new original programming, including a fresh installment of Vaughn Talks, powered by BMO. We'll introduce you to a new generation of leaders in Chicago and watch our Vaughn TV exclusive on the legendary actor Shirley Ralph in a conversation with WVON's Darlene Hill. It's part of our Speak Sister Speak series brought to you by U.S. Bank. And we've got great documentaries and films in celebration of MLK's legacy. Vaughn TV is easy to watch on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV Plus, on WVON's app, or on any device at VON.TV. Happy New Year from WVON's digital streaming network, Vaughn TV. It's our culture on purpose.
Hi, it's Tavis Smiley, inviting you to join me weeknights, 6 to 9 p.m. right here on WVON. I'll bring a national perspective to all things happening in Black America. It's talk the way you like it, and it's why America is listening.
It's the legendary Tavis Smiley, weeknights at 6 p.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Hey, WVON family, this is Kendall Moore, the host of The Kendall Moore Show. Fridays are always cracking from 6 until 9, so make sure that you're tuned in to The Kendall Moore Show. Cheers.
What's up, Chicago? This is BJ Murphy.
This is Naba'a Richard Muhammad.
Tune in Tuesdays, 9 p.m. to 12 midnight on WVON 1690, The Talk of Chicago.
And we're streaming live on iHeartRadio and WVON.com. So again, that's Tuesday night, Central Time, 9 p.m. to midnight. It's Straight Words with Naba'a Richard Muhammad and
Brother BJ Murphy.
And we are black, strong, and unapologetically pro-Farrakhan.
Hey, Alexa. Play WVON 1690 AM.
Getting WVON 1690 AM station from iHeartRadio.
Try it out for yourself. America is listening to WVON. From the Xfinity Studios at WVON, we are the Talk of Chicago. 1690 WVON.
All right, brothers and sisters, we're back. This is Straight Words with Brother Naba'a Richard Muhammad, Brother James G. Muhammad, yours truly, Brother B.J. Murphy, right here on WVON 1690. This is the Talk of Chicago. We got the Sisters Roundtable coming up. You got any questions you'd like to contribute to the conversation tonight, 773-591-1690. So, Brother Naba'a, you on fire, brother. Brother James G. on fire.
Yes,
and I'm telling you what, this is a great start to the new year in 2024. We want to thank everybody for rolling with us since last May when we began our show on WVON. And we want to thank everybody here at WVON for welcoming the show. Thank you, Deontay, and everybody for supporting us. And Brother Naba'a, I know we got some powerful sisters.
Yeah, I wanted to go to one thing. One,
yes, sir.
We're going to go to Anthony Shahid in a minute, but I want to talk about what I mentioned. This sister out of Florida, Sister Marsha, her son been in prison 6 years.
Wow.
Right? So I was saying that there's a police officer, and Sister Naimah Latif, stay with us for a minute. Brother Bobby Henry, who is the chairman of the National Newspaper Publishers Association. That's the real black press of America. Sit tight for a minute, Bobby. And then we're going to have Cheryl Smith on in a minute, too. That's going to be our roundtable. Sister Starla from the Final Call couldn't make it tonight. But look now. 6 years, right?
Right.
There's an officer out of Aurora, Colorado, Randy Rodema, who was found guilty on 2 charges, right? He was found guilty of criminally negligent homicide and 3rd-degree assault. He will be sentenced on January 5th, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now, check this out, man. According to the Colorado, this is from a New York Times article, so they don't say I stole it. According to the Colorado Legal Defense Group, criminally negligent homicide is deemed unintentional, and it's when someone's death is caused by another's failure to understand the risk of their reckless behavior. So if you put somebody in a chokehold, you don't understand you could kill them? Because that's what they did to Elijah McClain, 23 years old, 130 pounds, soaking wet, for nothing. He was stopped because somebody called saying he looked suspicious, or he looked sketchy, because he was walking home from a store with earbuds in, and it's terrible what they did to this young man.
Right.
So in Colorado, according to the article, the sentence ranges from 1 to 3 years in prison. 1 to 3 for the death of somebody, followed by 2 years of mandatory parole and a potential fine of $1,000 to $100,000. Right?
Yes, sir.
So I just want you to see now. Sister Marsha explained how her son Cameron was just in a car and someone shot his friend and he got charged, went to prison, and now it's just been a downward spiral and she's just trying to get her baby home. So we want to bring Cameron home. But I want you to look at Cameron's case versus this cop that was found guilty now. That was found guilty of criminally negligent homicide and third-degree assault. Randy Rodema, but he can do maybe a couple years and maybe a fine.
Yeah.
So-
That's right. But now,
go ahead.
can I just make a comment? And it's along the similar lines that we covered so many things since it's been on. But when I listen to her, I think about, like, as mother, there's a collective pain in the black community among black women in general, but black mothers in particular, because they all have the same fear of their sons being murdered, killed, imprisoned for no reason, or just killed by even their own brothers and sisters. So in our community, there's this trauma among black women in particular, but also it carries over into the black male, because not only can he not necessarily be a man unless he just stands up and decides to be one, but when he tries to be one, he has to answer to, quote unquote, the man.
Yeah.
So in general, as men, there's trauma because they can't fully be themselves. And as women, mothers particularly, they're in constant trauma of fear over what's happening to their sons and even their daughters nowadays. So that's one thing I want to comment. And then the other thing, we were talking about injustice by police and everything, and the brother came on and talked about being, he was in prison for 23 years for innocent. We got our own brothers who've been innocent in prison, but there is never any accountability on prosecutors or cops who either hide evidence or don't give the evidence to the defense, or just blatantly lie. And when it's found out that the person is in jail and he or she was innocent, there's never any accountability to go back and go after the prosecutor who intentionally didn't give all the evidence to the defense.
Right.
And so until there's a way that's going to happen, there will never be a way to resolve this, because prosecutors and cops will continue to lie or withhold evidence. And so, I mean, that's a problem that will never be solved if we can't get justice or policies that will bring these prosecutors and these lying cops and prosecute them like they should be.
Yeah, and you know, the way, brothers and sisters, is unity and love and the willingness to fight, man. You can't get nothing unless you fight for it. So let's go to Brother Shaheed, and then we're going to get Sister Naimah, Brother Bobby Henry of NNPA, and Cheryl Smith. So now, Brother Shaheed.
Assalamualaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.
I got three the hard way.
Hey, man, that's how we roll.
Yes, sir. This is the true Trinity, but let me start with the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. I bear witness, no God but Allah, Muhammad is nothing. I'm enjoying the show, and the blessing sometimes as the radio or host myself, sit and listen to other shows is very powerful, and the information that we get out, and that's why I love coming on your show. I thank Allah for all three, Brother James, Brother DJ Murphy, and you, Brother Naba'a, for also coming on the Freeman Bobby Jr. show, because I think that's what's going to happen in 2024, us unified and being together. As we said, Elijah Muhammad said, the messengers taught us that it's more powerful than the atom bomb. All of our problems could be solved. All we have to do is stick together overnight.
Yeah.
Everything will be over. We did the job. True. He has to do what he's doing. It's deep that you were just talking about, and my sister, what she's going through is deep. Sister Marsha, what she's dealing with her son Cameron, it's extremely heavy because one of the brothers that we deal with, Brother Reginald Clemens, his Muslim name is Brother Kadir.
Yeah.
He's been in jail 33 years.
Wow.
And he's only now given him because they had him to execute him, but Allah blessed him to, maneuver around it, and he wasn't executed. Now they've given him like he's been there 7 years, and his devil he always gonna be himself.
Yeah.
But he just called me last week, and I'll give you a quick one of December the 8th. and a brother was killed. He was maced, and how he was maced, and the brother's witness is a brother by the name of Marquise. He called on the show. I don't have the notes there in front of me, but when I heard my sister talking about what was happening, they witnessed them being killed, a brother being killed in the Jefferson City Correctional Jail.
Wow.
And the way he was killed, they watched him being killed. They wrapped him up, thought everything was going to be okay, and didn't know he was going to die. And this brother died. This just happened within 30 days ago.
Wow.
So our loved ones that's up in these jails, I'm just telling you, if you don't check on them, you don't stay on top of it, brother, because any of us can get locked up on nothing. You can be in a car and these devils get the wrong identification or just get a wild herp and they gluteus maximum and they posterior, and next thing you know, we locked down or somebody don't pay child support. It can be a whole array of things, and you can be up in that jail, and the next thing you know, you can come up dead. And in the city of St. Louis, I can tell you for a fact, in the Justice Center here in the city of St. Louis, 12 people in the last 2 years have died in the jail under the mayor of the city of St. Louis, Tara Jones, and she's making no beef about it. She said it was their fault. They ain't saying nothing that done happened wrong. And the woman who's trying to run things, of course, she thinks she's one of them Sunni Muslims. She ain't in the line now. She ain't like us. She about as dumb as a box of bricks. I'm just telling you, I can see her with a Santa Claus hat on her head. You know. But anyway, that ain't what I call talking about. So y'all know y'all need to just tell me when to stop this mouth. You tell me when to never go tell us all.
Well, go on and make your point, Brother Anthony, because we're going to bring in these other callers.
Well, I'm just.
But what are some? Well, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
For the year 2024, I think we need to address the music.
One more time. What did you say again, Brother Anthony? We need to do what?
The music. Next year that's coming up, or this year that we in, and from now on, they got just like a little filter in this area. It's called Sexy Red.
Yeah.
Not only is the music, it's the music that you can hear, but they bring their children. They was doing some Christmas stuff around. You know, Negroes always about this Christmas, but we're not going to get into that. But they brought their children to a McDonald's, and they brought Sexy Red there, and she was singing one of them songs that I can't say none of this on the radio.
Right.
The children are right there with her singing the song. They brought their children, knowing they was going to get some Christmas gift from a white Santa Claus. They sit on the lap, but they said the mama's singing the song, the mama's twerking, and then the children right there. The parents got to stop being ignorant. The next thing we got to do is unify, like what you just said. And in fact, Allah bless me to be able to come on your radio show, and hopefully in the next day or so I can get you to be on our show, or next week to be on it. And the mere fact that we're doing that, I was also on Muhammad and Friends television show 2 weeks ago. And the mere fact that we can all start, switching information, and y'all can find out, in this area who, doing things, how they selling black people out, because that's one other thing. We can't just be voting for people because they black no more neither.
Right.
Because I'm
That's right.
Obama messed us up. Y'all don't want. A lot of people don't want to talk about it. Obama messed us up because all he did was vote for them gays. And right now, the only people that they worried about was that they happy. They not worried about what's happening to black folks. So we got to be making sure that we have a better understanding of that. And the last thing I'll talk about, that everywhere I go, I don't see none but machinery now. I was in the jail about a year ago for Ramadan, and we know Ramadan is about 9 weeks from now. But they took a half an hour to get me back there to speak to the brother. And I'm like, hey, I don't take no long time there. I don't need no guards. I don't need nobody in there with me. You know what took me so long? They had to find the key because all the brothers were locked down with nobody in there in one area, which is called a pot, where over 100 brothers were, because they was locked down for 23 hours. So they didn't have nobody in there. They was watching everything from a damn camera.
Wow.
So they don't need black people no more. They got, and if we don't start doing stuff for ourselves, like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us, to do something for self, do some carpentry, do some electricity, become a barber, do anything, sell pickles, Google the flavor pickle bar if you want to see something hot and what they're doing. An 8-year-old sister, Mila Shaheed, watch and see what she's doing on the flavor pickle bar. Pay attention. We got to do something for ourselves. We got to spend money with black businesses. When white folks spend money with white folks, but black folks got to learn how to spend money with black folks. But I love all three of you brothers. This is three of the hard way. I love the Honorable Milton.
All right, Brother Anthony, thank you, man. We're going to let you go. Assalamu alaikum. So let's bring in now Naimah Latif from On Air Everywhere, based right here in the Windy City of Chicago. Blessed to have also with us Brother Bobby Henry, who is the chairman, baby, of the National Newspaper Publishers Association, which is the real black press of America. We're trying to get Cheryl Smith in here, but let's get started. Brothers and sisters, Brother Bobby, Sister Naimah, thank you for holding. And Bobby, your paper in Florida is the West Side Gazette too, right?
That is correct. Thank you, my brother.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
So let's get into it. 2023, and Brother James, you can get into this too.
Yes, sir.
2023, what did it mean for black people? What should we expect in 2024? Let's go.
Okay, is that directed to me, brother? No.
I mean, you talking, Brother Bobby? Go ahead.
Okay. Well, let me say this, man. That brother who just left us, man. He put me in a whirlwind. Everything he was saying a lot of things and a lot of truth to a lot of things. What is happening to us right now, and I can speak from the position in Florida, trying to survive. We're surviving under a fascist governor is extremely difficult. So the things that we have to do is and I don't want to take away from anybody, but we have to form a relationship with everybody, and that includes the Jews, the LGBTQs, and everybody else that has the same wants for coming from under a fascist governor. The miseducation of a Negro, the homophobic mentality, just everything that goes against the grain of being human. We have to form that coalition of like-minded people. I'm not saying that what you do I like. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is if a man is drowning, he will accept a life preserver from anybody until he's able to get himself up.
Yeah.
So we are in a condition where that lifeline, if somebody throws us a lifeline, we need to either take that lifeline to get ourselves up so we can do better, or stay there and drown. And unfortunately, a lot of us has taken the position of drowning as opposed to coming up to do better.
What do you mean by that, Bobby, when you say that we have chosen to drown instead of doing better? What and you're talking about specifically in Florida, or you talking nationally?
Okay. The same thing that happens in Florida is going to happen nationally.
Uh-huh.
Okay. If we continue to settle for anything, then we're not going to rise to the occasion. And if we're in a position where we're drowning and we don't take a lifeline so we can come up, so we can begin to address those issues, then we're going to be in the same condition we're in.
Hey, Brother Naba'a.
Yeah, go ahead, Brother James.
It's a great conversation to have here. Because my comment would be on that, sir, my brother, is because we in my mind, we have a lifeline. We just haven't used that lifeline, and that lifeline is what we've been screaming forever from the Nation of Islam, and that's unity of our own selves, the combining of our own dollars, the combining of our own resources. Once we can do that, we have a lifeline, and then we can use that then to pull others in to help us, because sometimes people will give you a lifeline only because they know when they pull you out the water, they can continue to use you. So even as you say, if you're in the water, you're drowning, who throws you a lifeline, yes, you're going to grab it because you don't want to drown, obviously. But first, if we, and in this case, in this part of the conversation, if we would realize what we have just as a community we already have a lifeline, but we just haven't learned how to, number one, use that lifeline, and then how to discern those who we choose to bring along in our boat to make sure that they're not just getting in there to only use us in the future to advance their own agenda. That would be my comment in terms of furthering that kind of conversation.
Okay, then you misunderstood me totally.
Okay.
You know, and I agree with you wholeheartedly.
That's why I entered it the way I tried to enter it in terms of.
I can dig it. I can dig it. Okay. I understand the necessity for us to depend on each other, but if we don't have that mentality, there was a time when all we had was each other, and then for whatever reason, that mentality was totally changed when we wanted to become or be like that which we thought was a success.
Yes, sir.
Now, when you're drowning, and you get that lifeline, you get a chance to come up, and maybe hopefully, when you come up, you begin to realize what you had. You see. Desperate situations bring on desperate measures. Right. And if we realize that what we need is what we already have and not going outside of that, then we can move forward. Yes, we've been hoodwinked for a long time. We've been miseducated. We've been trained and conditioned to get away from the fact that unity is what's going to save us. We have to be mindful of who's in the foxhole with us. So when we understand that, and we can rely and believe in each other again, we can move forward. There's some reconditioning that has to be done.
Yeah, let's bring. We're going to come back to you, Bobby. West Side Gazette, and Bobby is the chairman of the National Newspaper Publishers Association, the Black Press of America. This is our great sister Naimah Latif, coming out of the great city of Chicago, and she is with On Air Everywhere. Sister Naimah, 2023, 2024. What you got to say about that? Well, you got something else to say. Say whatever you want.
Well, I think this is a great time to be alive. And we have everything we need to get everything we want. It's time for us, as it's been said, we already have the lifeline. We already have the teachings. We already have the skills. We already have the understanding. All we have to do is apply it. And I think what we speak into existence, we have to be conscious of. Because if we're continuously saying that others have a power over us that they don't have, then we're giving it to them. So there is absolutely nothing keeping us from teaching our children how to be self-reliant. And a brother said earlier about skills. We've been taught, if you have skills, if you have abilities, if you have something that you offer that people need, then no one can hold you back because you make yourself necessary. And we know how to pass on knowledge and skills to our children. There's no need for us to keep complaining about what public schools aren't teaching our children when we know, just based on what we experienced in the pandemic, we can teach our children at home the life skills that they need, which are much more relevant than what they're learning in these institutions. We have the power to create anything we need. And right now, as all of us can attest to, because all of us are part of media organizations, information is global. All media organizations are now global because we're all connected to the internet. There's no reason for us not to be able to talk to our brothers and sisters across the water and talk about what they're experiencing and how we can develop trade. There's nothing stopping us from developing an independent economy where we're trading with each other, where we're providing for each other's needs, where we can even create our own currency. There's nothing stopping us at all. We
That's
have
right.
the power right in our hands. So our thought is what creates the reality we're experiencing. And if we can envision the empowerment that is ours for the taking, then we can take it. And so that's what I see for 2024. I see us changing the language that we use even when we speak to our children, and not speaking words of fear and despair and words of suspicion and anger. We don't have to speak those to our children anymore. Our children grew up in a world where they've been connected globally, and they use technology coming out of the womb almost, knowing how to operate machinery. So they have a different mindset. And we should make sure we allow that mindset to grow where they're invincible. They're traveling all over the world. They're speaking other languages. Our children are doing this. So we have to allow them to create the future that they have the power to create. And it doesn't depend on whether other people are nice to us or accept us or let us do anything. They don't have that kind of power. We need to stop giving them that power with our words. Yes, there are people who are mean-spirited and mean and cruel and hateful, but they don't own anything. They don't have power over us. We have power over ourselves, and we have the power to create a society that is kind and loving and compassionate, because we can treat each other that way, and that's how we create the world we see. So let's begin to speak that into existence and make it happen.
Well, Sister, thank you, Sister Naimah. Let's bring in... Let's bring in, let's see who we got. Let's start with Rebecca. Rebecca?
Hi. I was listening to the sister. I believe a lot of the things she's saying is true. I just don't know how we get that information to the illiterate people that were at home during COVID and are at home right now with their children, that they're not able to teach because they didn't learn anything in the first place when they were in school. So when their kids came home, they couldn't teach them anything because they didn't know anything themselves.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of those that do know, how can you get the word out? How can you start to knock on your neighbor's house and say, we're going to start a classroom and start teaching and start learning different things? Each individual has to step up and start doing that. And so if you know how to teach, then teach someone else how to teach. And you get together and teach your block. Start on your block. But when somebody made the statement earlier today, he said, don't vote for Trump, don't vote for Biden, then who the heck are we going to vote for? Are we just not going to vote for anybody?
Well, I would say this, sister. I would say this. When you got leverage, you use it. So
what's
you
the
don't,
leverage that we have?
I'm about to tell you. Mr. Biden said when he was elected, black folk saved him. He said it out of his own mouth. It was said that black folk saved democracy. So you got leverage, meaning that you take something that you have of value and you put it before someone that sees the value, and you negotiate what's in your best interest. You don't give it away because you're afraid of the boogeyman.
So who's going to go to Biden and negotiate this? Who's the voice?
First of all, we got Farrakhan. But we got people out here that's willing to do that. But we can't continue to be slaves to the Democratic Party. Mr. Biden was the president. He had the House and the Senate. Did we get the John Lewis Voting Rights Act? No. Did we get?
Since we didn't get it, what can we do?
No. Let me finish. We did not get. I'm saying Biden's supposed to be our friend. He had control of the White House, the House, and the Senate, and did not deliver for us.
So what do we do now?
So what we do now, we tell Mr. Biden like this. If you don't give us what we want, we ain't giving you what you want. Now, how bad do you want to win?
Yeah, brother, can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
I appreciate the sister's question. So I would ask you, what's your name again, sir?
Rebecca.
Sister Rebecca, okay. So as Brother Naba'a has kind of indicated, like we've been voting for centuries, since we had the right to vote, let's put it that way. What do you think? You had asked the question, well, who do we vote for? What do you think? So if we didn't vote for, if we withheld our vote, what do you think would happen? If we withheld
I don't know.
Our vote?
That was my question.
Okay.
That's why I called in to try and find out what is it we do, because I know we have had people run. Before Barack even got into office, we didn't have any faith in him. Before this guy Johnson got into office, we didn't have no faith in him. So the people that we had our best interest, that we thought would have our best interest, we didn't vote for even Jesse Jackson.
Wait, hold on. No. Barack Obama would not have been elected. Let me finish, Brother James. Without the black vote. First of all, black people voted for him something like 90%. The current mayor of Chicago won all the black wards. So it is not.
Barack.
Let me finish. So it is not accurate to say that they didn't get political support from our people. That's just not accurate.
Yeah, and I would add that
Can I make a point to him that just said it was not accurate? I said that even though we had Barack Obama, we weren't happy with him. Before he could get in office, even though we voted for him, even though black people came out and voted for him, white people, Chinese, everybody came out and voted for him. We, the black people, all you heard all the time before he even got elected, that he's not going to be able to do this and he's not going to be able to do this. A man just came on a minute ago and said the only thing that Barack gave us was gay rights, as though there were no black gay people. And so who cares whether or not a gay person is able to marry another gay person? Even if he can't marry the gay person, he's still going to be gay. So just because he allowed him to do that, I don't know why we are bitching about that. I want us to really bitch about things that is going to help all of us, our entire families, our entire race.
Well,
I don't care about what they're doing in their bedroom is none of my business.
Well, sister, I don't think it was about what they're doing in their bedroom. It was that he chose them as a constituency to represent something that they wanted.
Brother Naba'a.
Let me finish, brother. I'm gonna let you finish. Please don't lose your point. Black people voted for Barack Obama in record numbers every time he ran. So even though, and he was spared a lot of criticism when he ran. That's why there was no talk of reparations. He never met with the Congressional Black Caucus when he ran. He gave speeches challenging black people to be better. Put on your marching shoes and take off your bedroom slippers. But he never gave a definitive speech to white America saying it should be better. If he did, somebody please tell me. So I think the problem with some of those who criticized him, and it wasn't many. Tavis Smiley and Cornel West tried to hold him accountable. They was basically run off the scene. So I think the question for many of us was, if you can represent that constituency because of who they are and what they want, and if gay marriage is their issue, what issue did you represent specifically for black folk?
What issues did black people ask for?
Black people wanted reparations. Black people wanted more economic development. It is his duty.
And when he got, let me say this.
No, let me finish. Let me finish.
Mm-hmm.
Let me finish. So, but he felt immune from too much criticism from us. And if he and I will say this, in our love for him and in our emotion, we wanted to see him, and he did have a better, in particular his first term, a better representation, a better vision for the country. He had all of that in his first term. He really did. But what we should always do with any politician is present them our agenda, period. And if he don't agree to the agenda, guess what? You don't get our vote either. Go ahead, Brother James.
No, I guess
I thought I was going to get to respond to that.
I'm sorry. Go ahead and respond.
Go ahead.
Okay. Please forgive me.
My question was, when it comes to even Barack, what was our agenda? What did we bring to him to say these are the things we wanted? Like we say, the gay people wanted what they wanted. Did the black people have a list of things that they wanted and check them off as he did or did not give them? I kept hearing that he's doing this for other people, just as I keep hearing that all this stuff is being done for these foreigners. What do we want? We need to just directly say, and we'll make a list. If we don't know what it is, get together as a group of us and start making a list. These are what I want this person to do. But my understanding is his first 70 days was the only time Barack really had power to do anything. After that, they took over the Congress and the Republicans because they had them in the seat by then. And so they had more authority than he did, and he was not able to give as much to anybody. But when it comes to the things as far as them bringing the economic power back to us, he brought it back to the whole United States because we were in a recession before Barack became into office, getting ready to go into a depression. He took us out of that. We have to tell the truth, the whole truth.
The truth is the Republicans don't have the gonads to put their agenda on the table, and they have the gonads to move their agenda. They don't care what you think. They don't care what the opposition thinks. They have their agenda for the most part, and they move it. The Democrats...
Yeah, but my understanding was Barack was being blocked.
Okay, wait, hold on. The Democrats, if they had the House and the Senate and the executive, the presidency, if they had gonads like the Republicans have, they could say B and it would be, but they don't have that. But they
don't have the power. If you don't have the power, if the Republicans have 10 votes and you only have 5 votes, then you can't. Whatever you want, you're not going to get. Because
I just mentioned that if they have the Congress, a Democratic House, a Democratic Senate, a Democratic.
When did the Democrats have all the power? When?
Under Biden, they had it, and he didn't do nothing with it.
And
so currently, right now,
So I guess my point, and I know we don't want to have you, we got to let you go in a minute, but number one, we spoke about agenda. But my main point was when I first asked you, there have been agendas set forth. We've never really followed an agenda other than a civil rights agenda. The Nation of Islam, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, put forth an agenda, and the main part of that agenda called for a separation. And what I wanted to ask you was, is that even something as a community we've never even put it on the table just to have a conversation?
That's what I believe. That's what happens. This is what I think is happening right now today, is that we're not asking exactly what we want. We got to say, even if we would get reparations, we got to say what it looks like to us. We got to have some type of specific.
I just wanted to have a few words to say my point, and I will let you continue or whatever Brother Naba'a wants to do. But I'm saying to you and to our people in general, we have not had that conversation. We have not even considered what it would look like or what it should even contain. We haven't even talked about, we said we want reparations. We haven't come together to force them to bring it up on the table. And once they do, we have to be in agreement on what reparations look like. It can't look like a $10,000 check to you and one to me, and that's it. It's got to be much more than that, and it's got to be much more comprehensive. And if we don't understand
that was the point of my call,
then we're going to be right back in the same boat.
That was my point of my call, is we got to get down to a bullet point of exactly what we want. Instead of just complaining about whatever it is we think somebody else has gotten besides us, forget what they got. I don't care. Like I said, I don't care what the gay people got. I want to know exactly what we want. I want us to start talking about what is it we would like to see Biden do. Name some things. Don't just say he's not doing anything. Name some things.
I would invite you to look at the back page of the final call as well to get an idea.
Rebecca,
I will. Thank you.
First of all, thank you for your call, but let me say this. 2 things. Very specifically, we asked for Mr. Biden in the 2 years when he controlled the House, the Senate, and the White House. We asked for the John Lewis Voting Rights Bill to stop this destruction of black voting rights at the state level, which has happened all across the country, right? He didn't deliver. We asked for comprehensive police reform. He didn't deliver. During the primary, there was talk of reparations. So there were people that presented agendas to him, but I think you're absolutely right. We got to press the issue, and I want you to make sure you call us again, Rebecca. Thank you so much. Okay, let's go to JB, I guess. JB?
All right, good talk. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go right ahead, JB.
Yeah, I agree with Naimah and Latif. I've been on the show for the last 10 years. We speak things into existence. You're saying, what is the bullet point? What do we want? What did Andrew Jackson did with the Indian removal? He gave 2 acres of land, 145 million of southern land to settlers. And that's what their forefathers did. So I'm not blaming the new generation of white folks. They inherited that from the government. The government's not going to give us anything. Our power is our tax dollars. Our power is our spending dollars. I'm spending $9 out of $10 of what I make with foreign businesses, and you do the same thing. We don't circulate our money. That's our power. Once we start circulating our money, I got land. I got 100 acres in Arkansas, so I ain't got to say nothing. But the solution is give us that 2 acres of land for all of us. Reclamation, that's reparations, which Abraham Lincoln did when he freed us out those chattel plantations. He gave 40 acres to the freedmen for freeing us. He died. Andrew Johnson stopped that. So it's all about the land. Okay? 10 toes down, it's the land. Farming. This is what this is the part of the separation. A lot of us got land in our family, but we ain't doing nothing with it. We got weeds on it. We paying taxes. We just pass it down. We ain't doing nothing with it. So stop complaining when you got land. Stop complaining when we got it already. We got what we need already. We just need to do something with it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, BJ.
Make sense?
JB. Let's go now to Anita, and then we're gonna go to Deborah and Art, and then we coming to you, Mustafa. Go ahead. You're in the conversation. Thank you for calling in tonight.
Hi.
Hi.
Handling Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, and may peace be with you and the whole year and your family.
All righty. Thank you. We're going to eternity with it. First of all, I want to say Elijah Muhammad, at least I met a lot of his children by Sister Clara. And I came in after he was gone. But my children's father was in his community there in Chicago, and he graduated 8th grade and high school, head of his class at the Sister Clara Muhammad School. And it really made a difference in our children's lives. And he really stood out with I think Olive Muhammad, his grandson, said Elijah Muhammad had a 3rd grade education, and he had property in Hyde Park many years ago. So, we got people like Tyler Perry, and we got Matson sitting out there outside of a major metropolitan area. And I don't know if they build Lincoln Mall back up, but we need that. Yet. We need these things. We need a museum out there. We need a functioning community. We don't have to go to other people's history and hear a lie about us when we can have people come from us, from the world, and hear the truth about us. There's Gary, and they could put a Michael Jackson museum up there. I mean, we could have the world coming to us, and that's what we need to think about. But we have to feel proud that we had something to feel that we need to share with people. I don't know how our people is missing that. I guess they want to still be slaves and have someone tell them what to do, because it's easier to get something what they think is free, but it costs them all their lives. So, but Elijah Muhammad freed them. He told them, look, you don't have to listen to this crap. You don't have to be left kidnapped and raped. You can get up off that floor and figure out
how to stick your family together like cement and glue. And I liked his sons. They were all very respectful, and so was his daughter. I didn't meet anybody but Sister Lottie.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
she was very beautiful, always represented well, never arrogant. She was arrogant if you got crazy with her, but she never got arrogant just because she thought she was better than anybody. Real down to earth. She mothered that community. When you walked in to the mosque, and they Imam Wardeen still had the metal detectors there when I got
Sister
there.
Anita, I'm going to need you to wrap it up so we can get to the other callers, okay?
What I'm trying to say is we have to stand our ground. There's no affirmative action. And Elijah Muhammad taught you how to stand your ground. Now, people either going to use it or lose it.
Thank you, Anita.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Let's go to Deborah. Then we're going to Art. Then we're going to Mustafa. Deborah.
Thank you, and Happy New Year's to everyone. I'm praying that this will be a better year for us all.
Thank you.
Please let it be, let me make it abundantly clear. I feel that if all of the leadership that's out here, I truly feel that Minister Farrakhan is the voice that we need to galvanize. I know that, and my condolences about his son. I'm praying that in some way God will give him the strength, and maybe even as far as knowing that in memory of his son, other sons out here that didn't get what his son had gotten in terms of the leadership, the vision, all of that stuff that's needed for a community, for a family. I'm 65. I remember being introduced, and sadly, I didn't dig into what Anita says that she knows about Minister Farrakhan, the Minister, Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Yeah, I didn't know that a lot. What percentage actually know? So then that's the problem. The masses of the people don't know. And so we've had these handkerchiefs who have misled and have sold the people out and have gotten their pockets filled. And in the meantime, we're in such bad shape. We're in a crisis. We're in a bad place and space. And those who have and those strategies, they weren't looking out for the masses. And so the masses is left behind. Young men don't know how to be men. And that's what Minister Farrakhan was trying to do and say when he had the Million Man March and asked the brothers to come back to the community. Right. Get your little what do you call the young ones, your sons, and show them the way. And if you don't have, get a child and help bring them along. Right. Because every other race of people, they tried to build up their children. At least with the history, we don't have that. And so, if it was up to me, I would give my last to do something to see to it that Mr. Farrakhan is. I've called Biden's line for 2 years of many things I have called there about, but I have asked for him to see Minister Farrakhan.
Thank you.
And it would be great if he brings Stevie Wonder. Let the blind man help him to see what he needs to do for our people, too. Thank you for accepting my call.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for accepting it.
Let's go to Art, and then we're going to Mustafa, then we're going to Rosita, but we're coming up at the top of the hour. So, Art, go ahead.
Yeah, is this Art?
Can you hear me?
We can, Art. Go ahead.
Okay, well, first thing I want to say is Happy New Year to everyone.
Thank you.
You know, I'm convinced that I'm not a smart person, but one of the things that I did when I moved to Chicago, I met a lady called Miss Nancy Jefferson. And Miss Nancy Jefferson used to have the meetings there at 10 South Kizzy, and then she got her own headquarters further down on Kizzy. And she was very instrumental in talking to us and telling us. She used terms like, don't let people define you because they would confine you, and so on. But, you know, I am convinced that the stuff that we're trying to do, we're not going to be able to do any of that stuff. The best thing that we can do is just separate from some of these black people that don't want us to have it. Now, we have brilliant people here in Chicago. Now, we got a spokesman, that's Jonathan Jackson. That's the spokesman, but we got to get together and get organized to tell him what to tell the man, and so on. Now, you all continue to be blessed and have a nice day now. And
Thank you, Arthur. Let's go to Mustafa. I think it's your time.
Yes. Hey, how you doing? What I want to say, I want to answer the lady's question who asked, what have Joe Biden not done specifically? In a nutshell, there's many things he has not done, but particularly he has not shut down the border. He needs to man the border and just stop people from coming in and enforce federal immigration law. Secondly, what he did wrong was he picked a VP who claimed to be Asian and black and married to a white man. You can't talk black and sleep white. So that's a problem in itself. He has really no black men in his cabinet. We need strong male black leadership. Lastly, they support too much of a gay agenda. If black men are gay and black women are gay, we can never, ever build a black family. And while Hispanics are coming in here in droves, literally in droves, 20,000 a month, even more, they're not going to replace us. They're looking at the fact that black people want to be nothing but football players, basketball players, and rappers. So we need a working class. And they're really showing us up working. They're doing all the jobs we once did, but we migrated from the South. So the illegals are here. We shoot ourselves in the foot. All the white Jesus-loving Christians are killing us. Thank you for taking my call.
All right, let's go to Rosita.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for taking my call. I wanted to just say one thing to Rebecca when she talked about what Barack Obama could do. Well, he signed those 2 executive orders because he did not have the support. But he signed executive orders, and that was at the end. It wasn't at the first few months. So those are things he could have done, but he signed them for the LGBTQ community and for the immigrants. So he could have done something for black people. One of the things, in addition, I wanted to say was the crisis we have with our youth and our young people. We've submitted legislation, or I have submitted it to the Congress and to the state Senate in terms of equalizing education for African American students. I have a petition online called Literacy for Children Who Are Descendants of Slavery, and we're going back to revisit the African American vernacular English, a situation that should have been done in 1996, where our children would have received additional literacy support so that they would be able to compete in the job market and have some of the same tools that the immigrants get. That, in my petition, really explains why it's needed for our children, because they have removed our literacy supports, spelling, phonics, penmanship, and grammar from the curriculum. That happened 20 years ago. So when you talk about parents teaching students, these parents were denied the same opportunity education-wise that the children are being denied. And not to mention that the educational system that we grew up under is completely different. And even if they knew, for instance, math, the math is different. The parents today would not know how to do proper instruction in STEM and math. So we have a lot of things to think about. And then we've lost our entire fleet of black teachers. And to Rebecca and others, we've lost 200,000 African American teachers under Race to the Top, under Arnie Duncan, 14,000 right here in Chicago. We were 19,000 strong. We're down to 4,000. And a lot of those black teachers are teaching in interracial communities as opposed to teaching in the black community. So we have all of these others teaching our children who are just basically here, many of them, to get their loans paid off. And after 4 years, they go to their community after practice teaching on our poor children who need the best teachers.
Sister Rosita, thank you. We're going to have you back on to talk about these issues. But we're coming to the top of the hour. Thank you, though. And let's stay in touch, okay?
All right,
so,
thank you.
brothers and sisters, Brother BJ, do your thing, man. You the pro.
Yes, sir. You the pro. We rocking. Brother
You the pro, man. Go ahead.
Brother James G. Muhammad, we on fire. We want to thank our panelists for being with us as well, man. A full plate.
Hey, tell them, hold on. Don't go nowhere, Bobby and Naimah. Stay.
That's right. Don't go nowhere, y'all. We got more coming up next hour right here on WVON 1690, The Talk of Chicago.
The Talk of Chicago and the voice of the nation is 1690 WVON, Bergen, Chicago.
I'm Amber Payton in for Vanessa Tyler.
And I'm Mike Stevens on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
I need to move in here right now. No, because he won't get his hands off of me. An update to a story we've been following. A 27-year-old black woman was shot and killed by police after calling for help.
You couldn't mace her. You couldn't baton her. You couldn't use a stun gun. My daughter only weighed 110 pounds. Why is she dead?
The family of Niani Finlayson, who was shot and killed by a Los Angeles sheriff's deputy while her daughter watched, is suing the department for $30 million. Sheriff's deputies responded to a domestic violence call at the Lancaster apartment of Finlayson. According to the family, her 9-year-old daughter had just given her a knife to defend herself against an estranged boyfriend. Deputies say they shot Finlayson just as she was going to stab the man. Her daughter disputes that description, saying her mother was sitting on the floor and deputies shot her in the back. Body cam footage shows Finlayson's daughter pleading to police that her mother's boyfriend pushed her. Finlayson's family is demanding that the deputy who fired the fatal shot be prosecuted for murder.
Mississippi Democratic Congressman Benny Thompson, who is black, is discussing what could happen if former President Donald Trump becomes president again.
Black people, by and large, believe in the rule of law. And so what they saw, and a lot of us, myself included, was a president of the United States stoking the flames of insurrection on January 6th.
Thompson chaired the committee investigating the 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol and called it a violent attempt by a U.S. president to block the transfer of power. Thompson says he still stands by the committee's decision to refer criminal charges.
Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett is reflecting on her first year in Congress.
Going into 2024, I want everyone to be very serious about who it is that we send to Congress and who it is that is currently sitting in Congress.
Crockett, who was black, referenced the 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol and the expulsion of Rep. George Santos of New York from the House. She says she is hoping for more progress in 2024.
During a time when some states are opting to remove former President Donald Trump from the presidential ballots, a former advisor of President Barack Obama, David Axelrod, says doing so would rip the country apart.
The DOJ investigated that. They didn't find enough evidence. So how can you remove him for a ballot for inciting an insurrection when our own Justice Department didn't find that?
Axelrod says millions of people want to vote for Trump. This comes as both Colorado and Maine made recent decisions to keep Trump off the Republican primary ballot in those states. Trump's lawyers could file challenges against those decisions this week.
And as we make the transition into 2024, new laws are going into effect in several states. New York Governor Kathy Hochul has signed over 700 bills into law. One of them requires residents living in public housing projects, many of them black, to write within 24 hours about whether their water is safe for cooking and drinking. The minimum wage is also rising to $16 an hour in the New York City area. Similarly, in California, the minimum wage is rising to $16 an hour. That's an increase of 50 cents to help offset the rise in inflation. Several other states will also be increasing their minimum wage. I'm Amber Payton, along with Mike Stevens on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
5, 4, 3, 2, Happy New Year from the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
It's all about great food and service at Let's Eat to Live restaurant located at 621 East 67th Street on the south side of Chicago. Fresh, healthy, life-giving meals prepared with love. Veggies, fish, chicken, lamb, burgers, soups, breads, delicious desserts, and more. Some coming from our on-site garden in season. We got good food for your soul at 621 East 67th Street. That's Let's Eat to Live restaurant. You can stop by or call us at 773-966-6549. Or visit the website, letseattolivecafe.com.
Happy New Year from Vaughn TV. In January, we're unveiling brand new content, a brand new look, and we're celebrating Dr. King. Join us MLK Weekend as we unveil new original programming, including a fresh installment of Vaughn Talks, powered by BMO. We'll introduce you to a new generation of leaders in Chicago and watch our Vaughn TV exclusive on the legendary actor Shirley Ralph in a conversation with WVON's Darlene Hill. It's part of our Speak Sister Speak series brought to you by U.S. Bank. And we've got great documentaries and films in celebration of MLK's legacy. Vaughn TV is easy to watch on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV Plus, on WVON's app, or on any device at VON.TV. Happy New Year from WVON's digital streaming network, Vaughn TV. It's our culture on purpose.
Hi, it's Tavis Smiley, inviting you to join me weeknights, 6 to 9 p.m. right here on WVON. I'll bring a national perspective to all things happening in Black America. It's talk the way you like it, and it's why America is listening.
It's the legendary Tavis Smiley, weeknights at 6 p.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
What up, VON? It's your boy, it's Kendall Moore. I'm from The Kendall Moore Show, you already know. Join me every Friday evening from 6 until 9 p.m. on 1690 a.m., that is, WVON. Cheers.
What's up, Chicago? This is BJ Murphy.
This is Naba'a Richard Muhammad.
Tune in Tuesdays, 9 p.m. to 12 midnight on WVON 1690, The Talk of Chicago.
And we're streaming live on iHeartRadio and WVON.com. So again, that's Tuesday night, Central Time, 9 p.m. to midnight. It's Straight Words with Naba'a Richard Muhammad and
Brother BJ Murphy.
And we are black, strong, and unapologetically pro-Farrakhan.
Hey, Alexa. Play WVON 1690 AM.
Getting WVON 1690 AM station from iHeartRadio.
Try it out for yourself. America is listening to WVON.
The views expressed on our programs are not necessarily those of WVON, Midway Broadcasting Corporation, or our participating sponsors.
From the Xfinity Studios at WVON, we are the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
All right, brothers and sisters, we are back. 1690 WVON, the Talk of Chicago. Straight Words is on the radio from 9 p.m. until midnight. Every Tuesday, we're here, right here at WVON. Brother Naba'a Richard Muhammad, editor-in-chief of the Final Call newspaper. Contributing editor is Brother James G. Muhammad. I'm Brother B.J. Murphy. And brothers and sisters, on page 20 of the Final Call, there's a great article I want y'all to read called Our Demonstration of Love for the New Year. It's a beautiful article about how we should, reverence the time that God has given us on this planet. And your demonstration of love could be maybe making a Cash App donation to Straight Words to keep this firebrand going. Brothers and sisters, y'all listen to the show tonight. Wherever you are, you got to say, man, these brothers are on fire tonight. And they're giving us the type of content that we need and the type of conversation that Black America needs to hear. So show your support, show your love, show your demonstration of love to Straight Words. $ Straight Words on Cash App. $ Straight Words on Cash App. Make your best donation on Zelle, 312-480-9775. That's 312-480-9775 on Zelle. And on PayPal, it is straightwords, 4 at gmail.com. Straightwords, 4 at gmail.com. All right, Brother Naba'a, Brother James G., we got a good conversation going on tonight. Go ahead, brother. Take it away.
Yeah, thank you. Make your best donation because we need the money. This is not public access radio. This pay as you go. No pay, you
That's
don't
right.
go, baby. We trying to keep going. I want to say to Sister Naimah and Brother Bobby, thank you for your patience because the callers just took over. But I want to give you an opportunity to say anything you feel that you want to add, either 2023, 2024. The floor is yours. And Brother Eugene, we're coming to you after they finish, so give me a few minutes, okay? So, Sister Naimah, why don't you start? The floor is yours. Do your thing. Sister Naimah, you there?
Oh, yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Yes, I am definitely here. And I want to address the few things that were said, particularly the sister when she spoke about the schools and the fact that so many parents, once they were faced with the challenge of teaching at home, they didn't have the knowledge. Well, that every problem is an opportunity to create a solution. And we're this year launching the New Earth Homeschool Academy online. And it's an opportunity to teach at home where parents can expose their children to information that's going to be empowering. And also parents will be able to take a parenting class. And it's a class like no other because it teaches them a new way of getting the best out of their children instead of beating them down, but knowing how to guide them and giving them inspiration and information that's going to prepare them for the world we're living in, but prepare them in a way that they can take control of their future. And all of these things that are being done, none of these things depend on who's in the White House. Most of the things that affect our lives happen right in our home. That's where the power is, and that's where we need to take our power back from. We talk about unity, but when those two people who are the gateways to the souls that come to this world, the mother and the father, when they can be unified, then we can talk about unity with everybody else. We have to learn how to get that first unit together because that's the foundation. And when those two people are at odds with each other and fighting each other and disrupting the family and destroying the economy in the family, then what do we think the community is going to reflect? So let's work on the thing that keeps us from being able to unify as men and women and have a united front when we raise these children, because they're watching us and they're learning how to conduct themselves by what we do in the home. Wow. And what we do in the home is not being affected by what Donald Trump or Joe Biden does in the White House. We control that atmosphere in that home.
So we're saying, I guess, family first in 2024. Sister Naimah, thank you. Brother Bobby, absolutely. The floor is yours.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, Brother Naba'a. You know, that the sister, you put me on point. You said some things to really make me think. As a matter of fact, this entire show has caused me to really want to take advantage of everything that I can. I know it's only 24 hours in a day, but I do realize that no matter what we do, we will still miss something. Now, it was something said earlier about trauma.
Go ahead.
Male trauma and female trauma. You know, when those things are happening, from a psychological and a philosophical standpoint, if a man and a woman are experiencing trauma so much so that it affects their entire being, and then they lie down to procreate or to make love or to produce a baby, what happens during that process? I'm sure that somewhere there's a transference of that whole emotional state
that comes into the child. So if we have two people experiencing that trauma, then that baby will have some of that trauma. And I'm saying that, and you're right, sister, in the home is where we need to address that. How can we address it if we both are affected by it and we're constantly producing that trauma? That's one thing. The other thing I want to say is, when I was elected chairman of the NNPA, I ran on the platform of team, and that's team spelled with 2 M's. And that together each accomplishes much more. So it takes a team effort for us to do anything that would be of benefit to everybody. If we look at a football team, there are 11 players on that field playing, and they have one objective, and that is to score. But each player has a different part to play. When we address our community's problems and issues, it's not from one viewpoint, it's from several viewpoints, but we have to bring those points together and collectively move forward. So my approach, or my hopes going into 2024, is that we do it from the spirit of a team approach. Together, each accomplishes much more. We can't do it alone. I have to take what the sister was saying, even though it was bitter at times, I have to take that and move. I have to take what the brother said from the beginning of the show and move. I have to take what Brother Muhammad is saying and put it together and move. It's not just one point of view, because we all have a different point of view trying to get to the same place. But we have to bring it together, and we have to move collectively, and it has to be on one accord. No matter what it is that has caused us to be, we have to put that aside and collectively move for the benefit of all.
Go ahead, brother.
So if I can leave you with anything, is that in 2024, we need the spirit of team. Together, each accomplishes much more. And brother, I thank you for this opportunity to be a part of this whole witnessing ceremony and what I've gained from this. Man, I'm missing a lot.
Bobby, we thank you, and we're going to have to bring you back as the NNPA chairman to talk more about these things. But Sister Naimah, thank you. Assalamu alaikum, Bobby, thank you.
Yes, sir.
And let's stay in touch. Thank you.
Absolutely. Peace, brothers and sisters.
Right.
Yes,
Peace.
sir. Peace,
Peace, brother. Peace.
So we have had, brothers and sisters, I think a wonderful night. Now I just want to say a couple of things real quick. Then we're going to bring on Eugene Puryear of Breakthrough News. One, go to Straight Words website and click on the tab, the little item that'll take you to our archives, because we're working on archives so you can listen to the show on demand, okay? So do that. Also, we got a little YouTube page going. So you can go to YouTube and look for Straight Words Media, right? And you can follow me on Twitter at RM Final Call, and you can follow Straight Words Media on Facebook. Brother Eugene Puryear, the man we all came to hear from tonight. Is he in the house?
Yes, sir.
How y'all doing this evening, my brothers? As always, it's an honor to be here.
Oh, brother, it's an honor to have you. Now, somebody washing dishes somewhere, man, because I'm hearing I know some of y'all got wives, and y'all gotta take care of the business. But I mean, wash your dishes. Just put your phone on mute, man. I ain't got nobody at home with me. I got a dishwasher.
Hey, brother.
I'd rather have somebody at home. But, Brother Eugene, what we saying, man, 2023, 2024? Give me something.
Well, it's a lot to be said, 2023, 2024. We might be here for another 2 hours. But I'll say on the international front, you know, I feel almost what we left 2023 is what we're going into 2024 with.
Wow.
You know, everything that's happening with Gaza and Palestine, Sudan, the Congo, you know, multiple pieces that we could go on and go into, Ukraine and others. But ultimately, you know, we're starting the year off with a lot of unresolved conflict around the world. We need to move, you know, the tectonic plates of world politics. And, you know, I think that we're looking at a year with the U.S. presidential election coming up with all of these things hanging in the balance that is going to be very interesting because it's really the first U.S. presidential election since the end of World War II where the issue of the United States being the sole most powerful country may not be the truth of this stage in the game. And it may be an emergence of multiple powers. And all these different conflicts are driving in that way. But it's a real inflection point. It's a big year, I think, internationally in terms of where the world is going.
Excellent. You know, Brother Eugene, I know we've looked, and the world is looking at Gaza. We had some popular uprisings in Africa, right?
Yeah.
Overthrow of some military governments. Not talking about Sudan. That's a different situation. I guess my question is, these popular uprisings where we saw the people come together with some young military leaders, in particular kicking France out of some countries.
Niger
and Mali, right?
And Burkina Faso, yeah.
Burkina Faso. So should we look for more of that in the future, or should we look at somebody trying to squelch that from happening, or both?
I personally think we should look for more of that in the future. I mean, already what we can see from those three countries is many of the things they have done have been unprecedented, but they speak to the conditions that are affecting all African people, primarily, you know, stagnation and poverty that's not there by accident, but by the designs of, you know, France, the United States, and other European powers. So, you know, as you mentioned, they've kicked out France. They've also kicked out Germany in all these countries, which lets you know they have all these different countries that are in there. They've also kicked out some other African countries that were working with these European powers like Chad, although the U.S. is still in Niger. So it's an interesting question of how that piece is going to play out. But you can see those three countries now have an alliance. It's called the Alliance of Sahel States. That region there is called the Sahel, just right across. Mauritania is also a part of it. Others, Chad, Central African Republic in parts. But anyway, the Alliance of Sahel States, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. They've kicked out the French. They've kicked out the Germans. They're saying they're going to work together more closely on all different lines under Pan-African principles, primarily military at first, but also economic. Like, for instance, there was a tax law that many of these countries that were former French colonies were subject to, where basically they were kicking back a lot of money to France.
Right.
They've ended that, you know, to try to change the economic paradigm. They've started the discussion about getting a new currency and not continuing to be on the CFA franc currency, which is a currency controlled by France that they use to keep these countries down. So, you know, the results of what they're doing, I think, is exactly what will drive more, at least similar type events in Africa in 2024, because everywhere you look in the continent, the youngest continent, 70% of the people under the age of 30, people do not want to live in another generation or two generations of poverty and neocolonialism. And so leaders are either getting out of the way, being pushed to do more than they would before, or are at risk of getting thrown out. We've seen a couple other countries where it's a little complicated, like Guinea-Bissau, where there was an attempted coup, but the government in Guinea-Bissau is actually is progressive from my point of view. It's good. It's generally oriented towards trying to help the people. You've got Gabon, which is a mixed bag. So I think you can see that the trend helps both opportunists and people who are legitimately trying to lift up the African people. So it's going to be complex, but I think that the existing systems on the continent, it's going to be hard for them to hold. And I think domino by domino, you're going to see different crises. Senegal, big country to watch, for instance, in that regard this year, a few others. But yes, I think what we saw this year in terms of these popular uprisings is not going to stop in 2024.
So, brothers and sisters, you're listening to Eugene Puryear of BreakthroughNews.org. We're talking about 2023, 2024, and we're talking about African countries that you don't hear about. So that's one of the things that we want to do, is to bring you news and information and people. I mean, this is a very talented brother and very knowledgeable brother. Brother Eugene, I guess Gaza. It's interesting to me that I keep hearing something about friction between Biden administration and Israel, but the bombs keep falling and the money keep flowing.
That's 100% the case. I guess it's hard to even know what to say other than to say that they just are lying. There's all these stories that are coming out. Well, Biden and the administration doesn't want this. Jake Sullivan doesn't want that. Secretary of State doesn't want this. And Israel is just doing whatever they want to do. And then you see they're doing what they've done twice now, approve hundreds of millions of dollars in weapons in a way that they don't have to go through Congress to approve them, and overriding their own so-called human rights constraints on weapon sales just to make sure that they have enough ammunition of multiple types, from artillery shells to bombs to, bullets themselves, to commit this slaughter and massacre, of which there's now 88,000 or something, roughly 88,000 people either wounded or killed, 30,000 alone who are killed. So, you're saying it to distance yourself in the media. Well, we don't want to be tied to this genocide, and who would want to be tied to a genocide? But it's all to just try to muddy the waters of the real record, which is that not only are they continuing to send weapons over there, they're aggressively pushing this package that will send tens of billions of dollars to Israel, also Ukraine and Taiwan. But, that money will be used directly to buy the weapons of war that will be used to continue this. So I think it's an American-Israeli war. America and Israel are in lockstep here. They're working together, and, they deserve to be held just as responsible, the people in the White House, as the people in Tel Aviv.
Yeah, Brother Eugene, I was looking at, I was looking at world opinion, global demonstrations against the genocide in Gaza. I think unprecedented anti or pro-Palestinian demonstrations, anti-war, anti-Gaza destruction demonstrations across the country. But can anything stop the Israeli juggernaut? Because it seems to me the world keeps saying no, and Israel keeps saying, and what?
I think that's the million-dollar question, and certainly one that I think we'll perhaps learn something about in the next few weeks. I mean, we certainly know it's increased the pressure, but I would say the only thing that is really stopping Israel from fully doing what they want to do right now is the fact that they haven't been able to fully crush the Palestinian resistance, despite putting out a lot of press releases about how they're defeating Hamas. It's pretty clear to see. I mean, one, they're withdrawing thousands of troops from northern Gaza right now. They claim they're regrouping, but obviously they weren't able to complete their objective of, quote unquote, destroying Hamas. Hamas is still fighting. All the factions are still fighting. They're still firing missiles, and so on and so forth. So obviously that has been the biggest stumbling block, and in many ways why the violence has gone on so long, because even though it's so great, they have not been able to impose a total depopulation agenda because Palestinians have been able to resist, and everything else has kind of pivoted off of that. But you've seen things like Yemen, where they've seriously affected the ship traffic, going through there, that Bab el-Mandeb Strait that's between Yemen and Eritrea leads to the Red Sea, which leads to the Suez Canal. That's like 10, 12% of all global commerce, tens of billions of dollars. And, now many of those ships going all the way around Africa to get to Europe. So increasing the cost, putting pressure on global trade. So undoubtedly some of these things are constraining the space of Israel continually, but it seems like they're determined to kill as many people as they possibly can until it becomes untenable. And that, I think, is the unfortunate thing. But I guess that's the only factor that you can really say, whether it can stop them or whether it can't.
Right.
Are you going to stand up and say anything and try to affect them? And I think that's why we see these unprecedented global demonstrations. By the way, in 2 weeks, on January 13th in Washington, D.C., the American Muslim Task Force on Palestine is going to be bringing tens of thousands of people in front of the White House to do just that. So, what ultimate role it'll play, we'll see.
If you could send me something about that protest, Brother Eugene. Brother James, go right ahead.
Yeah. No, I was going to ask Brother Eugene, what do you make? I understand that Iran has moved a warship into the Red Sea area. I think I had read that or either saw that somewhere.
Yes.
And so
you're
curious,
100% and that is what has happened. Is Iran has so basically a bunch of people are now putting ships in the Red Sea. So the U.S. had tried to pull together this, multi-country coalition. It didn't seem like a lot of people didn't join it who they thought would, especially all the Arab countries in this area, none of the African countries along the Red Sea, a couple European countries, but it's widely been seen as not really succeeding, but it was there to try to threaten Yemen that they would try to bomb them or something like that, either the U.S. or the UK, if they continue to try to stop these ships. So Iran has now sent a ship into the Red Sea, almost certainly not to directly confront the United States, but it's a relatively small area, relatively small sea, and these warships, when they don't want to fight each other, try to give each other sort of relatively wide berth. So I think what Iran is trying to do is essentially make it a little bit more difficult for the U.S., the UK, France, a few others to maneuver, make it a little more difficult for them to interfere with what Yemen is doing vis-a-vis the ships, to create a little bit more space for them to continue to wreak this, essentially veto power on which ships do or do not go through the Suez Canal, to keep the pressure on Israel and the United States to resolve Gaza. So that's, I think, the Iranian warship trying to create a little more space for Yemen.
Okay.
Brother
Naba'a, can I jump in for a minute?
Jump right in, baby.
Yes, sir. Peace, brother. Eugene, how you doing, sir?
Doing very well, sir. Thank you.
I wanted to ask you, brother, is there anything going on that's real under the radar right now as far as any other wars that are bubbling that we may not know about? Maybe the mainstream media, nobody's really talking about yet. Have you seen anything?
There's a few. I mean, Sudan, people sort of know a little bit about, but not a lot. And I think that war is at a very serious inflection point. 7 million people are displaced from their homes. The economy is completely and totally collapsed. The World Food Program is saying it's, perhaps the biggest, maybe second biggest hunger crisis on earth. I think actually the biggest hunger crisis on earth at this stage in the game. So serious challenges. No real end in sight to the civil war there. The leaders of the two sides were supposed to meet, but have not for reasons that are not 100% clear. So that is continuing to look, strange. There's a couple other sort of under the radar things that haven't fully escalated, but I think are important close to us between Venezuela and Guyana. The UK just had a warship in Guyana because the government of Guyana, which is essentially captured by ExxonMobil, which controls everything now and is exploiting the oil in a territory that is disputed between Guyana and Venezuela, and is seemingly trying to stoke Venezuela and get the U.S. and the UK to bring in their military to not only secure the oil, but to get them access to other oil in territory controlled by Venezuela. Obviously, the United States is against Venezuela. They don't like them because they're socialists, because they took control of their oil. So anyway, they're trying to manipulate the long-running, but not that not that hot dispute between the two countries to try to, regain access to Venezuela's oil resources by using U.S. and U.K. naval ships. So far, Guyana and Venezuela are negotiating. They had a meeting recently in St. Vincent and the Grenadines with many other leaders from Caribbean. So far, it seems they don't want to be manipulated, the people and the parties involved. But nonetheless, there's a lot of meddling going on, especially from the United States, but also from the United Kingdom, trying to spark a war right there in our own backyard. And then Haiti. This is maybe not seen as a war, but it's still up in the air. Are 5,000 Kenyan cops going to come to Haiti as basically an invasion force along with several other countries to try to put down the Haitian people and, install yet another puppet regime on behalf of the U.S., Canada, France, and a few others who, basically run Haiti at the end of the day with the help of their local intermediaries. So that's another one going into 2024 that could become serious if there's another, it's already serious in Haiti, but if there's another occupation in force and army. So those are just a few of the ones that I think are out there that aren't getting as much coverage as they probably should.
Can we stick with Haiti for a couple minutes, Brother Eugene?
Yes.
There's talk of gangs and roaming gangs in Haiti, and they're controlling of roads and they're wreaking havoc. Can you talk a little bit about the history of these quote-unquote gangs, the politics that they have been associated with, and how they have been used by the powerful in Haiti?
Yes, I think that's a great question because all you hear is, murder and mayhem by these gangs. The best way to really understand the so-called gangs of Haiti is essentially these are neighborhood or multi-neighborhood level armed authorities because the state, the government in Haiti is very weak, and that is basically by design because the economy of Haiti is essentially just the extraction of very cheap labor making sort of sweatshop type goods for America, gold, and other agricultural products from Haiti. So it's just a straight plunder economy. And one of the ways that they keep that going and keep the Haitian people from being able to make big changes is a lot of the aid and the other sort of trade programs that are sort of governing Haiti's economy basically put everything into the private sector, the nonprofit sector, nothing to the government sector. So anyway, the government's very weak. It can't really provide these services. Plus, it's led by people who don't want to provide these services. They just want to steal the money that's coming in and manage the problem. So in that vacuum, you have groups of people who come together, and they're kind of different groups of people. So some of them are like ex-police officers, cops, that kind of thing, who have some level of authority. Some it's sort of just groups of young people who might look to the sort of naked eye as more like what you would consider a quote-unquote gang in an American context. We know how that can be manipulated. And some of them, are people who have political backgrounds or whatever and had some level of organization in the community and were able to get arms and sort of turn it into that piece. But all of them have ties to the traditional Haitian elites.
Yes.
And, that pretty much is a handful of people. Some of them are billionaires, many of them of sort of non-Haitian descent. They control all the factories. They control all the big plantations. And they pay the different gangs to help secure their own power and position. And this is not just me, Eugene Puryear, saying this. In an article in the Associated Press about 2 years ago, I believe it was, I think it was 2022, actually quoted one of the richest women in Haiti saying, oh, yeah, of course, I definitely pay these people to attack these other people to make sure I can keep my stuff together. So it's a part of the economy where you have a weak state, which makes it easy for a small amount of elites and their international backers to plunder the country. And then to control the whole thing, they have these sort of paramilitary neighborhood organizational type entities that they can use to sort of go against their rivals inside of the power structure, to manipulate certain business deals and so on and so forth. And so that's more or less what it comes down to. Now, there are some people who are more kind of like popular leaders, if you will, more Robin Hood-esque type figures that, try to present a different vision of what they're trying to do, that they're trying to empower communities. In some places that's very contested. But basically what it comes down to in Haiti is none of what's happening is really happening by accident or randomly. And it's really all governed by a sort of complex but not that hard to understand web of the very rich, super elite people, the international companies and governments that back those people and control that system, and these sort of street level paramilitary, but also kind of service provider entities that form in the vacuum created by the fact you don't have a real government. So it's sort of a manipulated chaos that's designed to really just keep Haiti in poverty and in chains.
Let me ask you this. But Haiti is one of my loves. Can you talk about how can Haiti be poverty stricken, and yet there are these moneyed rich people there? How does that work? Can you get into that and explain that some?
Yes, absolutely. Be happy to, and I think it's a great question. And it's really, the two things are 100% connected. The country is mired in poverty almost specifically because there is this small group of elites who control everything and keep it under their thumb. I mean, basically Haiti as a country since the mid-1980s has been run by this sort of cabal of people whose main business is exporting goods produced in sweatshops. To a lesser extent, plantation agriculture and gold mining. But they have monopolized, basically these three main sectors of the economy of Haiti, divided it amongst themselves, and they don't want to share any of it with anyone else. So they've constructed the government in such a way to really direct an extreme amount of violence towards the popular aspirations of Haitian people to share the wealth more equally. So, Jean-Bertrand Aristide, who was twice the prime minister, he comes in 1991 on this sort of pro-poor program about let's try to find a way to develop Haiti for people. He's overthrown in a coup, and there's essentially like a reign of death squads for the rest of the 1990s, assassinating and killing people who dare protest or lift a finger around, not sharing the wealth. He comes back to power in 2004. The same thing happens. And you can even see now with a lot of these, so-called gangs that have ties to these various oligarchs, a lot of the worst violence is in these neighborhoods that have the biggest reputation for putting out big protests, strikes, and other things like that to try to improve people's living conditions. And so the history of Haiti, really going back beyond the 80s, but let's just go from the mid-80s to now, has really been the history of these successive waves of, sometimes it's called paramilitary violence, now it's called gang violence, but sort of elite orchestrated violence directed at the population to make sure people just don't really say anything about the terrible conditions they're in, and then everything else sort of around them is rigged to perpetuate that to the greatest degree. But, it's the real key factor that I think is underappreciated about Haiti is the huge amount of violence that's used to keep people down there and how it's directly related and tied to the richest people in the country. Which is, it really expands the region and the world because people are so deeply intertwined with these foreign, powers, especially the U.S. and Canada. Sometimes it's hard to separate them, but nonetheless, they're able to survive because of this sort of death squad politics.
Yeah, I mean, and I tell you, I've been to Haiti maybe 5 times. Love the country, love the people. But I think what we don't know is the level of, oh my God, I don't even want to say intervention, but the level of control and the level of destruction and the level of manipulation that America has exerted in Haiti from the time of the revolution. When Haiti overthrew the French, right? And I don't recall the French were an American ally at the time. But America blockaded Haiti. Because the slave system, brothers and sisters, you got to understand, that was a global system. So it's like when there's an oil crisis and everything starts to be in flux around the world. That slave uprising and the defeat of the French army, Napoleon's army, was seen as a major thing that reverberated. And so since then, you get the U.S. occupation of Haiti, I think, for a couple decades. Then you get the Duvalier family. Then you get some other folks. Then you get some other folks. Then you get some other folks. You get, as a matter of fact, it was Americans that took Jean-Bertrand Aristide out of Haiti. And then when he came back, now this man was elected president, brothers and sisters. They took him out, they brought him back. They didn't even let him finish his term. So there's a lot that sometimes we hear and we wonder, why can't these people get themselves together? It's because America always has her hand there, regardless of what political party is in power. And we need to understand that, and we need to understand how they work along with, I would say, the corporatocracy now, to manipulate and to control, as well as I know you're familiar with this, brother Eugene. With brothers and sisters, you hear often about corruption in Africa. But do you know that bribery is part of how major corporations do business in Africa? Do you know that? Like it's a real thing that they do as part of their business strategy.
And, to take it one level deeper, the United States is one of the number one places where these corrupt leaders are hiding their proceeds. Like, that's one of the things that I feel people don't know that they should know about America. Is it's actually the number one tax haven on earth. Wow. And you always hear it's the Cayman Islands, it's the Bahamas, it's all these other people. If you go look at all of the things that are written and the tables that are done about tax transparency and what areas have the most opaque, hardest to penetrate taxes, the U.S. is at the top of the list. And if it's not number one, it's only slipped to 2 or 3, but just wait a year and it'll be at the top. And so one of the things is that about $80-some-odd billion, that's just the estimate, so it's probably more than that, leaves Africa in quote-unquote illicit financial flows. So that's basically corrupt money that's not governed by anything. Wow. So the majority of that money is coming to the United States. And the U.S. and states like New York, where I'm talking to you from, they have laws that basically prevent the government from revealing to other governments the actions of taxpayers and different tax-paying corporations and so on and so forth. So if I'm, say, Cameroon, and I feel XYZ person has stolen 10 million euros or whatever and stashed it in the Bank of New York Mellon, and I come to the United States, 9 times out of 10, there's really nothing we can do about that. You know what I'm saying? Our hands are tied. And in fact, they've been pressed on it consistently and always completely refuse to reform, while they tell other countries, that they have to do the exact opposite and, let them arrest their citizens or whatever. But anyway, the United States is really probably the most complicit country with the sort of hiding of ill-gotten funds by these sort of neo-colonial African puppet leaders and corporate lackeys. And then they try to go around and lecture to Africans about what's going on with corruption. But quite frankly, the U.S. could do quite a bit to stop it by just changing its own laws, which it refuses to do.
Wow. I mean, it's really, it's amazing to me. And I've always kind of had a interest in international affairs and United Nations and that kind of thing from when I was a little child, actually. But I think that in 2024, as a people, let's try to get a little bit more informed about what's going on where. And a great source of that information is this brother right here, Eugene Puryear of BreakthroughNews.org. And you can follow him on Twitter. Where else you at, Brother Eugene, where they can follow him?
Well, the best place, probably only place I'm on online is Twitter. Okay. So I'm at Eugene Puryear on Twitter. You can find us as Breakthrough News on all social media, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, at BT Newsroom, Then we're on YouTube, Breakthrough News. But if you go to breakthroughnews.org, like you already mentioned, Brother Naba'a, then, you can find everything there and link to all the different pieces we're doing. So that's breakthroughnews.org. You can check us out. And again, I'm at Eugene Puryear on Twitter.
Brother Eugene, thank you, man. I hope you saw the little, I guess you saw the little YouTube video I put together. So, we're steadily, brothers and sisters, developing our product here. If you go to straightwords.com, you can, through our website, you can get to our archives, which we're steadily updating. You can follow Straight Words Media on Facebook, and you can follow Straight Words Media on Instagram, and you can follow Straight Words Media on YouTube. So, we're doing our thing. Brother Eugene, thank you. Anything else you want to add that we haven't talked to you about?
I first of all want to thank you, brothers, and appreciate that, and just say anybody who's listening, please in 2024 make sure you start giving the straight words, because at the end of the day, if we don't support our own media, nobody's going to do it for us. And so I can highly, highly recommend that as one of your New Year's resolutions that you must carry out. But I think the only thing I would say in terms of, maybe what we haven't covered that people should probably definitely look at closely here is what's happening right now between Ethiopia and Somalia. You're not hearing a lot about it. Ethiopia has done a deal with Somaliland, right, which is like the northern part of Somalia, to use one of their ports. But Somaliland claims to be a country, but Somalia says, no, you're actually still a part of Somalia. So it's a big dispute between Somalis, right? So this now inserting Ethiopia's economic power has inflamed it, has poked the bear. There's a lot of tensions right now happening. Somalis are very upset. There's a big rally in Mogadishu today. Unclear what the president is doing. So that's another African continent conflict that we hope doesn't flare up. I hope it gets tamped down the next couple of days, but something to watch at least over the next couple of weeks on the continent that could be important.
Thank you very much.
Do you see a hidden hand? Do you see a hidden hand in that then?
100%.
Okay.
100%. And I'll tell you why, Brother James, just briefly, because I know we got to go. Somaliland has been shopping itself recently as like the most U.S. Western-friendly country. And so in that area, like the big port is Djibouti. Djibouti has a lot of Western countries, but also has a big Chinese presence. So Somaliland has been going all around to the U.S., the U.K., saying, we don't have China in here. We don't have any of these countries you don't like. We don't have Iran. So our port, the Berbera port, is the most secure port. So we know that Ethiopia has been, under a lot of U.S. pressure on a lot of different fronts, trying to work some deals with the U.S. on different things. And it just makes you wonder, at least, why do it this way when they could have gone through another port in Somalia? They could have continued negotiations with Eritrea to try to do something there. Is there a hidden agenda to say we're going to go with the U.S.'s preferred client in the region, which, as we see, Red Sea, it's right in that same area, crucial region, to try to curry favors? That's a lot of money for them. Ethiopia, big country, a lot of commerce coming through there. Now it only goes through Djibouti, so it'll be one or two places in one of the biggest economies in Africa. So it does just make you wonder if there's a play here, either on Ethiopia's part, or they were pressured and told, if you do this, you'll be able to get some level of favor. So either they're hoping for it or were promised it. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I think it's very suspicious in a lot of ways when we look at what's happened over the past couple of years. A lot of U.S. manipulation, especially in Ethiopia and in Sudan. Could this be an attempt to destabilize this other piece now in Somalia? Who knows, but potentially dangerous.
All right, Brother Gene. Thank you, man. And we look forward to having you back. Please send me some information about the protests you mentioned. And love you, appreciate you, and respect you. So, look, that's Eugene Puryear. Follow him on X, Twitter, breakthroughnews.org. Thank you, brother. Peace.
Appreciate y'all, brothers. Take care now.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother. Peace.
Well,
yes,
brother.
I just exposed myself as the one with the water running.
Hey, you got it. How long you been married, man? How long you been married?
Everybody.
He was washing them dishes, bro.
How long you been married, bro, James? How long you been married?
42 years, bro.
Damn.
42 years.
Wash all the dishes you want, man. Just mute your phone.
Yeah, I can tell I can tell the way a cup sound when you wash them.
Hey, but before we go though, bro, since you want to bust me out, but Naba,
yeah.
Were we waiting for a checkup? Somebody report about a checkup.
We were waiting for someone. Why don't you ask about that, Brother James?
Yeah, man, I ain't gonna bust nobody out.
No, bust him out in 2024. Bust him right on out, because he got to make his word on.
I got my work bond. I was gonna.
Already know. He need another two.
I was going. You hear that, Brother James? I was going.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I looked up in the dictionary that I was gone, and I saw your picture in there, BJ. So, you know.
I know, brother.
You was going out. What?
Yeah, I was going to go get my blood pressure checked, and so I can have a report for you brothers. But I didn't go do it today. Because look, I'm gonna tell you, every time Tuesday come around, I said I know they're gonna ask me. I know they're gonna ask me that I do what I supposed to been doing maybe about a month ago, and I have not done it yet. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, but I am gonna.
Well, you already have now.
Myself.
Wait a minute.
When, man? You've been. I'm going to go. Dude, we talking deadlines over here, man. You a pro.
It's a new
I know.
We're in a whole new year now. That was last year.
I know, man. I know, brother. I don't have no good excuse except for procrastination, and I'm gonna go get my blood pressure checked. How about, can I do that next week? Report back to y'all. No, I'm gonna do that.
DJ, you can buy a blood pressure machine that'll take you, and it won't cost that much. And then you can check it every week.
I think you can go. I think you can go to Walgreens and stick your arm in a thing for free.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. That's what they told me. They said go do that. I'm going. And you know, I'm working on my health insurance. My wife is working on that.
I'm going to tell you again.
Stop.
I'm gonna tell you again. Just stop. There's a free clinic you can go to get a physical. As a matter of fact, you where? You in Aiken? I'm gonna make an appointment for you at the free damn clinic, and I'm not playing. And I got your information. Send me your address, because I don't have it down there. You going, man, brother, stop. We can't afford to lose you, man.
Because we love you, brother. This is all.
We cannot afford to lose you, brother. Seriously.
I appreciate it, brother.
Come on, man.
I appreciate it.
Stop it.
Yes, sir.
Stop it. Stop it.
Yes, sir.
Stop
Yes,
it.
sir.
You're too important, man. Seriously.
Yes, sir. You're right.
Damn. I tell you what, shit. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to curse. Y'all tell you I didn't mean to curse, man. That one slipped out. That was based on love, though. I'm gonna bring you to Chicago and take you to Cottage View Health Center.
All right, well, let's do it. Let's do it. I need
and pay $40 and get you some kind of physical
checkup.
I'm ready to come back to the show anyway. So let's do that. I like that.
Well, let's talk about getting some money then.
Yes. All right. Well, we need some money to do all that, don't we? So, brothers and sisters, y'all listen to the show tonight. If you've been with us from the beginning of the show, you know that the spirit is high. This is the Spirit of God coming through the speakers here at WVON 1690, the Talk of Chicago. And we're kicking off the new year powerfully. And we thank God, Almighty God, Allah, for allowing us to be here from last May to this point, still going strong. And it's by the grace of God and your donations that we've been able to keep our show on the air. So we thank you, thank you, thank you. So before you go to bed tonight, make sure that you pull out your phone and you Cash App us your best donation. Whatever you send us, the God's going to give you a double portion of it right back in your wallet. $ straight words. $ straight words on Cash App. That's $ straight words on Cash App. 312-480-9775 on Zelle. If you got Zelle, you know how to put that number in there. 312-480-9775 on Zelle. And if you're on PayPal, real simple. It's our email address, straightwords, 4, @gmail.com. Straightwords, 4, @gmail.com. You can reach us on all our social media platforms. Brother Naba'a, why don't you tell them about the hard work that you've been doing, and people can go consume our content and get in contact with us.
Absolutely. Go to straightwords.com, okay? Straightwords.com is the main website. And right at the top, we got 3 little sections. One section will take you to our archives, which is some beautiful content. Then you can go on YouTube. You can go on YouTube and search for Straight Words Media. Matter of fact, if you search for Straight Words Media, and you will get the Instagram sites, and you'll get our YouTube page, which we worked on this weekend. Brother Deontay, can you play quickly the Let's Eat to Live commercial, or you need a minute? And y'all, look, man, I meant to say this earlier, Deontay, that music, boy. Y'all hear that music?
Yeah.
I was in there dancing, man.
Yeah, I was too, brother.
I was in there dancing, man.
I was too, man.
Man, just like music, baby.
Yeah, I was
Yes,
too.
sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So we're having a good time, brothers and sisters. You can tell the Spirit of God is upon us. And like I said, that demonstration of love article, page number 20, in this week's phone call, make sure you read that.
Yeah.
And Minister Farrakhan has given us clear instructions of how we should reverence the new year and how we should conduct ourselves. And it'll give you some clear ideas, things you probably never thought about on how I should be thinking about the new year.
Yeah.
It's a blessing that we're here, brother. You know?
And we're going to close, I guess, with this commercial, right?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
All right. Come on now.
It's all about great food and service at Let's Eat to Live restaurant located at 621 East 67th Street on the south side of Chicago. Fresh, healthy, life-giving meals prepared with love. Veggies, fish, chicken, lamb, burgers, soups, breads, delicious desserts, and more. Some coming from our on-site garden in season. We got good food for your soul. It's 621 East 67th Street. It's Let's Eat to Live restaurant. You can stop by or you can call 773-966-6549 or visit the website letseattolivecafe.com.
The talk of Chicago and the voice of the nation is 1690 WVON, Berwyn, Chicago.
Hey Alexa, play WVON 1690 AM.
Getting WVON 1690 AM station from iHeartRadio.
Try it out for yourself. America is listening to WVON.
The views expressed on our programs are not necessarily those of WVON, Midway Broadcasting Corporation, or our participating sponsors.
From the Xfinity Studios at WVON, we are the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Here's a WVON discovery that's gonna glow, 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 gonna glow. We've been waiting for so long, waiting to play for you some of our songs. We've been waiting for so long. We want to play for you some of our songs.